live in a second. My phone is meant to ping me when it does.
Well, I
'Cause I'm
think we're
logged
already
into-
live according to this, so let's assume that we're streaming live. Hey.
Hello, everybody. It is working, I think, so that's really good. It's been a long time since we've done this.
Is it obvious?
Oh,
Is it
hello, we
obvious?
are live. Hello, 2IQ Dog. Lovely to see you. I don't know what your Discord username is, so if you have a Discord username, please let me know what it is so I can remind myself who's who.
Absolutely. So maybe just a kickoff to welcome people back. There may be people here randomly from the Discord that weren't even here when we were streaming. Gosh, it's been so long. So this is ill-esha TV. This is the International Live Beat channel, originally formed and inspired by the legendary Matt Black from Cold Cut, wanting to sort of give a leg up to independent live music producers. And we partnered a long time ago with the EDM Production Discord. That's us. You may be in our Discord channel right now, and we basically just collaborate on opportunities to lift up the community, to talk to you, to hang out with you. And Natty and I have both been stupid busy, so maybe while we wait for people to join, I would love to actually know genuinely what you've been up to, because I don't even think we've talked between us enough lately.
No, it's been very sporadic on that one. So I got a new contract with a local educational solution. Yeah, if you could send it in there's a form. It's bit.ly feedback and friends, all caps for the start of each word. I think you can paste in the chat as well, but it's also in the events chat on Discord. So yeah, we'd love to hear what you're working on. So it's I'm based in Aberdeen. Oh, wait, the link at the moderation thing blocked your link. I'll see if I can prove that.
I got it. Don't you worry. Let's just, all right, we got 10 people already. So you're coming from Aberdeen, and I am coming from Violet, Denmark. Funny random thing, Natty found out a couple years ago that there's a direct flight between Aberdeen and Esbjerg. Where is Esbjerg, you might want to know? Well, most people don't know that. Don't worry. It is on the west coast of Denmark, and it turns out that you can just go direct. So I'm looking forward to seeing you next time you're able to come back.
I'm hoping to come back for Christmas again with my dad.
Yes. We gotta talk some more about that, because we have a really nice artist compound here. So yeah, I want to know kind of what you've been up to. I know we've both been sort of diverging from just art, and I also think that there's a lot of interesting conversations to be had. And I kind of want to talk to the chat a bit, because if you are a human being in this world right now, you're probably kind of watching the sort of global turmoil wash over you. And there comes this point as an artist where you're just like, what is the point, right? You're just like, why am I making art while the world is burning down around me? I've seen like 20 memes a day that are like this. And I think the answer is just, it's always the same, right? Is especially when life is hard, especially when stuff is crazy, people need music. They need art. They need escapes more than ever. That is why in all of the times of sort of economic depression, the arts tend to thrive, right? People go back to comforts, to places of joy, and music is one of the best ways to spark joy. So as I say that, I'm kind of a hypocrite, because I've also been just under the stress of work and sort of putting music last and not giving myself enough of that moment. But I have been working on lots of nerdy sound design stuff. What about you, Natty? What have you been doing?
So, well, my main work has been like with this outdoor education space, right? So my pivot has been a little bit gentler than your pivot, I think. In that, like, there's a lot of the work we were doing with ill-esha and all this on the Discord and everything has actually spilled over into my real world. It is great, but when something's really, really important, like, it's that thing of, it's very easy to forget yourself. And so it's only about now where I'm starting to feel like I can actually say, yeah, I have a right to focus on myself, on my art, on my expression, because for me, at least, the thing that makes all this, do we make art during dark and difficult times thing important, is the answer is always yes, because it reminds each other of our own humanity.
Yeah, absolutely. And it also gives you like an opportunity to connect, right? Like when you have a new song to share, it's a different way.
Pretty much. People tend to... They don't expose as many of their biases in songs, I think. So they're more willing to listen to your own experience.
But you can also, the beautiful thing about music is you can interpret it so many different ways. So just off the bat, I mean, if this is your first time tuning into the stream, we do a lot of things. Archaic Aura, I just posted the link above, 2 messages above you in Twitch chat. I just posted it. It's a bit
I think I see 3 stars. I think it disappeared.
Okay. Well,
or
if you're tuning in, I'm going to keep reposting the link in the channel. You can submit your tunes here, because what we're going to do tonight is centered around you, right? The cool music you're making, sparking conversation. We might talk about some of our favorite plugins. We might kind of just go deep and talk like we're doing now. But you can submit via this link in the chat, and we will just play. And so far we don't really have a big queue, which is also why we're kind of chatting, warming up, waiting for you all to get in. And we're going to review your tunes. There we go. Whee! So you've been doing a lot of community events and a lot of really amazing stuff, I think, around environmental sustainability. Really, really good stuff. I have been working for a company, so more of a business thing, but it is a toy company. So I like to think that at least
you're still trying to bring joy into people's lives. I think that's the connecting thread there.
And I think what I'm going to do is I'm not going to say the name of this company on the stream, because that way we can continue talking and it doesn't become mixed up with the company's opinions. So I will say
this is all very independent. We're our own people. And the whole point of tonight is to, in some ways, leave the work outside.
Absolutely. And just because I know people are wondering, I can't believe they're back. MXMR, what's up to Barrett? Yeah, we've been gone for a long, long time. And in the meantime, Natty, you've just done so much event production. And I've been putting modular synths in toys. Really, really weird. So again, just to get away with this, if you know what I'm talking about and you want to ask me questions, me being a little bit mysterious is giving me an open door to sort of answer them more freely for you. So anything that anyone wants to know about modular synths and toys, I will tell you whatever I can, because it's been a pretty fun project, and it's been enough to sort of still keep me clinging to music and sound design and all of the cool, great stuff. And maybe we'll talk about some of our favorite new plugins as well, which is something we usually do. Hey, it's Aiden. The crew is back. So do we have something
really
in the queue?
We do.
Maybe we should just get rolling with some beats.
So this is Trebiar, aka Zam 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 Zam, on the Discord, and among a few other. Everyone's got like 20 aliases, but I know who you are, so that's fine. Just give SoundCloud a second to load up. Come
any comments? Any sort of I need feedback on this or that?
Let's find it. Individual responses, please. Sometimes I forget how all these things work. Any specific feedback? No. So I guess we'll just get right to it. I'm going to mute us now so we can listen to this in all of its high quality. Since we've only got 4 submissions, we'll start by playing them all, I think, in full.
Yeah.
That was collab 234567 by Trebiar. I assume there's a collab
Great
partner
name.
involved in there, but you'd have to tell us a little bit more about who, and hopefully it's auto played. That's fine. SoundCloud's behaving today. That's great.
Collab 234567. Are you Danish? Because that's about the level of creativity we have over here with names. Maybe. Yeah, I think the first thing that we were hearing, which other people in the stream were hearing, is just there's a lot of stereo, right? Like to the point where people were thinking there was something wrong with it.
Yeah,
So,
it's one of those funny things, isn't it? Yes, our stream setup my setup can be a little bit complicated sometimes, but it's pretty battle tested. I know it's working.
Well, and it just goes to show you that you can really overdo stuff, right? And I think for me it sounded pretty good, but I kind of got what that person in the chat was saying because it is very wide. It is very wide, and inevitably, if you over stereoize things, and that's totally a real English word, then you will get like some kind of weird phasing and some hollowness because just naturally you've spread things too far, right?
Yeah, it's also I felt the treble was a wee bit harsh, and especially on the vocal, and it almost it's for me actually I think we have to be really careful about these days. I gotta get a bit of side sort of tangent here. A lot of AI stuff sounds really weird in the treble, and I know this is not AI, but the problem is people will accuse you of it being AI. It's possible. Maybe I'll turn the stream down a little bit. If maybe it's Twitch is compressing it a little bit more than we'd like. So I will.
Well, the interesting thing is Zamzam is also comparing it to SoundCloud, but SoundCloud has its own compression that it does to mixes, which is destructive as well, right? Because I've also had so many people complain that SoundCloud is mashing their mixes, like separate from the stream. And it was actually like when you and I were first getting involved with Audius, that was one of the biggest selling points of Audius as a platform, right? Was that it was uncompressed streaming and it was not messing with your tunes. So to be honest, and maybe this is
Oh, what happened there?
platforms.
Sorry, something. That was weird. Sorry, something went a little bit weird with your signal there. It gave you a red and then you
Weird.
cut out. Anyway, hopefully that's. Sorry, you were talking about doing a separate video or something about something.
Yeah. Just that it would be really cool to take one song, to upload it and make sure that song is just, correctly mastered and doesn't have any problems like in the root of it, and then upload it to SoundCloud and to Audius and to, I don't know, Spotify, and really just compare then how that comes across, because you've got like a lot of compression algorithms all over the place. This is the modern reality, right? Is like you upload your thing to a platform, it does something. You put it on stream, it does something. So it's a little bit like an Indiana Jones dart through the lasers of like, will your mix survive whatever algorithm that it's passing through?
Even your device, Spotify's been making a big deal about their now having lossless streaming, right? But if you're on an Android device, it's not. It's still resampled on the device because they haven't built in a direct plug-in to the back end of Android's audio system.
Interesting. And Bako Babizo is saying in the chat, SoundCloud has a hard boundary at 15K, which happens to be the same kind of boundary that Suno applied to their AI generator. So the interesting thing about this, right, is if you get used to something, this is kind of the rule for everything. You get used to something, then even if it's wrong, then other stuff will sound wrong, right? Because your brain just gets accustomed to something. So if you're really used to uploading your stuff on SoundCloud and then using that, it's going to be different to hear it through something else. It's obvious statement of the week, but who knows? It needs to be said. But other than that, other than the stereo, I think that track was super polished. But again, I'm going to be honest because feedback is feedback, right? You ask for it. I think that what makes it sound kind of AI is sort of like the predictable perfection of the composition. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's really good. It sounds exactly like the perfect recipe for a track where I'm really hungry to hear something unexpected or something dissonant. And it doesn't have to be something big, right? I'm not like, I think it's a great, formulas are formulas because they're good and because they're solid and because they appeal to a lot of people, right? But even within the formula, there is a little bit extra, a little bit weird, a tiny thing all your own that I think I would love to just hear against that, because it would create some kind of creative tension that would make me miss the formula, right? So hearing it go off into a unique direction would make me say, hey, okay, cool, bring it back to that chorus again. Do you know what I mean, Natty?
Yeah, it's also about energy level modulation. The stuff I've heard from the AI, I haven't heard a single piece of AI music that impresses me. And it's because they all suffer from what I call baby shark syndrome. And it's where everything's because Baby Shark is the worst song on the planet. Don't like, if there's any fans of this, then I hate you. But it's because for me, what I hate about the song is it stays the same energy level the entire time. Like, if you actually sit and listen to it carefully, and unfortunately I've had to listen to it a lot when I was working retail, when it blew up. There's loads of families with kids on their iPads and whatever. And even when it, quote unquote, gets faster, it doesn't actually get faster, and it doesn't actually get more intense. It's just the same intensity the entire time. And AI stuff is similar. I mean, they don't, they're not quite so deliberately engineered, I suppose, but it doesn't know when to change the energy level, to bring it down a bit, to bring it back up again, to sort of modulate it in a way that actually tells the story of the piece, you know?
But that's also because AI is just a pattern recognition ultimately, right? It's looking for the most common things, and the most common things are also going to be like formulas. Max Martin, who is that Swedish guy that's written most of the major pop hits for however long, he's sort of a human version of that formula, right? He figured out a long time ago, like, these are the ingredients, that's a hit. Therefore, every song that I make has these, and it's a hit. And the sad part is he was right, because humans are predictable. So let's check out what's the next one. Is it Zanu?
Yep, and there is some specific feedback. It says, any sort of feedback on it is great. For the record, I'm trying to get that label sound so that one day I might get signed. Oops, I'm not going to play Trevor again. Sorry.
That label sound. Okay.
I don't know why I'm using that keyboard. I should be using this keyboard.
But yeah, I want to say, like by the way, like, these are kind of compliments, right? Like, it's very well engineered, which is why it almost sounds AI. So I would just say, like, shake it up a little bit, add something spicy, and maybe narrow some stuff a bit.
Zanu, I think you sent me a track that's private, but without the private link. Could you submit it again, please, using the form? Sorry about this.
Classic mistake. All right, let's move to the next one while we wait for Zanu to come back. This is always a thing, yeah.
Archaic Aura, who has sent in the right privated URL, so that's
all right.
Has all the weird bits at the little end.
All right.
It's just this cool song with a local girl. I need help on the vocal processing a bit, as I feel it's the least professional aspect of the song. She likes to record layers in her DAW and send them over to me. I guess it may help to ask her to keep her sample layers separately and not to export them to one layered audio form so I can individually process them. Now, Isha, you've done obviously a lot of vocal work for third parties. So at the end, you might have some good tips on that one, I think.
Yes,
this is Cold Water by Archaic Aura.
if I fall with you. Cold water, pull me under. No fear, just thunder. Cold water, take me deeper. Lose control. I'm a believer. Take me deeper. Take me deeper. I'm a believer. Cold water, take me deeper. Lose control. I'm a believer.
It's a very interesting piece, that one.
Yes, it is. I got a lot of stuff to say. I want to start off just by quoting the chat because I'm just so happy to see some of our old friends, and like all of it is just really, really huge vibes. Shouts out to Bako Bibizo, shouts out to Koitax, 2IQ Dog, Archaic Aura. So Bako Bibizo said some interesting things about the distortion on the bass that is giving off harmonics that aren't going with the lyrics. That's actually a thought that didn't even cross my mind, but you're not wrong, because obviously when you're doing like harmonic distortion and sort of color bass or any sort of really like visible distortion, you are going to generate harmonics that may or may not go with it. But where I disagree is that I don't necessarily think that that's not okay, because I think that dissonance is part of what makes music interesting. And I'll go back to this example, which I've talked about before, when I started making electronic music and I was a singer-songwriter playing piano, right? And I would just try to put a sub in, and I could not figure out why my music just sounded so cheesy. And it really came back to the bass being too much in tune. So I was doing a sub that was like the exact pitch of a sine wave to the chords and the other parts of my arrangement, and it was just too happy birthday, right? That's what I call it, happy birthday, when you're just like da 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 da. Like it's too harmonious because you need dissonance. That being said, you're not entirely wrong, because there are harmonies, there's dissonance that works and dissonance that doesn't. And it's kind of like that magic where you see somebody playing freeform jazz and it's like a cat on the piano and you're like, what notes are they even playing? But somehow they work. So I think what I would say is that I agree with Bako Bibizo that you have to be intentional about it. But I don't think that being dissonant is wrong. So 50-50. Here's what I think personally about the problem with this track and what you're hearing, right? Because what you're hearing is that it doesn't sound professional. So I'll tell you something. I was really, really surprised to hear the song, because what you set me up to hear, and by the way, I don't know if there's traffic outside your room, Nathaniel, but it is like crazy noise. So yeah, I was expecting to hear a really raw sounding vocal and less of a polished everything. And that's not what I heard at all. What I actually heard was that the vocal in itself sounds super nice. Like you have not done a lot of things that a lot of beginners do. Like you haven't bled it in reverb. You haven't, everything is really, really clear. If I were to nitpick on the vocals to say more professional, the only thing I would say is that, and I've done this myself, you can be really, really nitpicky about timing of doubles, right? So if you have doubles, even just tiny moves where you get like the consonants and you get the timing, just tiny movements, that can be the difference between it sounding like professional and sounding amateur. Because there were a few moments I was really listening hard, because this isn't a big deal, right? This is me trying to hear what you wanted me to hear. And I could hear like a few moments where maybe the double was a little bit. So I think doing a little of vocal line type of stuff, that will help. But the processing on it I thought was really good. Now, the reason why it doesn't sound professional, it sounds like you've taken an a cappella and you've put it over a fully produced track. Meaning there is no glue. In order for it to not just sound like you're throwing a vocal over top of a track, there are a lot of things you need to do with processing and balance to make it sit in the right place. Because like a lot of the stuff in the chat is also related to this. It doesn't sound like the vocal is sitting in the track. There isn't really a place for it. So I'm going to recommend some stuff. If those of you who've listened to the show, you'll probably notice that I've said this a lot of times, because it's just common advice, right? But one of my favorite things to do is either sidechain multiband compression or sidechain EQ, right? And doing that in the mid and the sides. So this is like stereo space 360 side chaining. And this is basically kind of a trick to make some room for the vocal. So for example, what you can do is take all of the mid-range parts, and I guess with your track, Bako Bibizo is right. Like you have a lot of bass, wub bass in the center. So maybe that is the top end of the bass is the center. So what I would do is do some mid-side compression or EQ, where every time the vocalist is singing, maybe the range of her voice is pulled back in the EQ on the top end of the bass, right? Because then she sings and whatever is clashing in the top end of the bass is pulled down, only in the center.
I don't know. I think it's Volta.
Oh,
I think
okay.
They haven't updated it so here's some behind the scenes.
Are we still live? Because I can't see
We're still live.
anything.
Everyone's still responding. Like they can hear you.
All right. Well, let me just keep going while you fix that, because I wasn't done. I was going to say so
because it seems to be just not working. I think it's
cool.
Like they stopped supporting the software, so I think that they've just.
All right, cool. Yeah. So anyways, so what I was saying about sidechain EQing, so like that allows you to just sort of do a nice automated push and pull with the EQ just in that range and just in that stereo space. So I love this trick because then you can keep that distortion in the bass, but it will only be up on the sides. And then you put the vocal in the center and you have, let's say it's like, I don't know, 900 hertz is like the fundamental frequency of her voice. I'm just making this up. But then you pull that back in the middle top of the bass. So that's one thing you can do. You can also do sidechain compression, but for vocals and for sort of mid harmonic elements, I prefer the EQing thing because I don't really think you need to do a lot of aggressive compression. Then there's other stuff where like the whole track is just in a different space, and it's like you mix the whole thing together and threw the thing on top of it. So I would just go back into your mix and kind of think like, what can I pull back elementally in the mix as well? Maybe there's a reverb that you like that you're using on the voice that you can also use on some sort of top melodic element in the track to glue it a bit more in the same space. Because right now, like I said, the biggest thing I keep hearing is the vocals sounds good. I don't have a problem with the professionalism of the vocal, but it does sound like you bought a professional a cappella and then you stuck it over top of a track, and the rest of the track is mixed in a very tight space. There's not really dynamics that should be pushing and pulling around the vocal. So some of that could also be going back into the rest of your mix and sidechaining or cleaning out a few more of the elements so that they pump up and down, because it wasn't really coming through. And that could also be because you've slapped the vocal over top, made the vocal louder, and maybe now you're limiting it and there's not really any room for the rest of your track to go anywhere. So there's a lot of sort of loops of stuff where you could go and check, but I would start by going into your mix. I would start by cleaning up and leaving room for the vocal, and then kind of look at where else you can clean stuff up. Because remember, when you get to your final mastering and you're limiting, if you have this loud vocal over top and then you've pulled the rest of the track down, you're not going to get a really nice balance in the end. You need to give some of that push and pull. Like that's why we like wubby bass, because it moves the speakers and it moves us. So sorry, Natty, my vocal processing monologue is now over. Did you have
no? It's fine.
Comments?
Like you. I mean, that pretty much answered everything I was going to suggest as well. It is all about space management. And the actual quality of the vocal, given the style it is done correctly. So I wouldn't necessarily worry yet about asking your vocalist to send individual bits, because I think that from the sounds of it, they know what they're doing, which is good.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
So,
all right.
Yeah, obviously, if you do end up finding trouble with the processing, then yeah, maybe getting the individual bits will be helpful. But if you do that, explain to them it's because you're learning to try and figure it out properly, not because they've done anything wrong.
Exactly. Cool. All right. We got
So
Aiden up
up,
next.
yeah, we have Aiden, and it's a good to see some old folks who I say old as if they're old people. Aiden's been on the stream a fair, like even as a guest a couple of times, so it's good to see you again. And this song is apparently coming out on the remember the dates that are in American, the 17th of April, so that's 2 weeks from now. This is called Alien Punch Funk Cybernetics Mix. That's an incredibly dense mix down there. And it's very much a throwback. There's some early 2000s sort of UK garage dub and bass sort of remixes of sort of pop and hip hop tracks that are a bit like this in terms of, you know, really cranking the distortion and the attempting to explode everyone's speakers.
Yeah, I really like somebody else said the softness about it. Like it's very percussive, and yet there's a lot of care to not have the sharpness, which is the opposite of kind of the track we started out with. You know, that really sharp, high sort of AI-ish frequency. I don't hear any of that here. I hear a very like analog, warm, kind of delightful sound. Right. I do agree with. I think it was, I don't know who said it, but basically just to maybe bring the vocal up a little bit or pop it out, because there's, like you said, there's so much going on. It's a tiny bit hard to sort of focus on that little vocal, which is great. I want to hear it more.
The comment saying the vocal feels a bit too repetitive and static. I find that interesting because it's actually kind of hard to understand what the vocal is saying to begin with. So maybe all that would be needed to reduce the repetitiveness is just have one section where you can clearly understand what's being said, and then the rest of it can be mishmushy abstraction. And then that would be all you need to then sort of one like a lot of this stuff with vocals, when you, especially when you sort of subdue them, is sometimes you're relying on almost hallucinatory sort of responses with with the person listening. I don't know whether you ever saw that meme of the audio. It's like Laurel or Yanni or something. I don't know.
I don't know.
Where it was there, this voice sort of says something, and everyone was convinced it was like that dress with the different colors, but with
Oh,
the
right,
voices.
right. Yeah. You're right. Yes, I remember now. Yeah. Yeah, it
but,
kind
like,
of leaves it open to interpretation.
Yeah, but you can play with that deliberately in music, especially with club music, where depending on how you emphasize certain sibilant sounds and transients in the vocal itself, it will sound like different words to what you're actually saying.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And so it's more fun that way. Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily repetitive, but I do think that, like, as we were sort of alluding to, there's a lot in the mix. So maybe having different points of focus, I always compare it to like a cinematographer, right? Like a good cinematographer has these great shots where they really show you where you're supposed to look, but implicitly through a beautiful shot. And I feel like that's a lot about mixing, where it's like you have everything, and technically people could focus on whatever they want, but you have your own journey through the song that you want to share. So yeah, that would be my little nick. The OG mix has a bigger, brighter vocal mix. I'm pitched up, so I thought to bury it just a minute. Oh, right, that's right, because it's a remix. Yeah, I want to hear the OG mix. I mean, so send us that too. That would be interesting to listen to.
Yeah, it's always interesting when you remix yourself, because it's like, it's very difficult to kill your baby, you know? And sometimes the best remixes are the ones where it's completely polar different to the original.
Yeah, it's so hard to remix yourself. It's just like that impartial, because I don't know about you, but when I finish a song, there's certain things that I hear way too loud, and there's other things I don't hear at all, which are totally different story than what everyone else is hearing at that point. So not sure. Cool. Aiden, it's so good to have you back. What do we got next in the queue?
And we have H, aka Omega Eggs, on Discord. Some of these usernames, I love them. There's no specific feedback requested, but beyond whether my mixing or mastering on this is good, it's an older tune. So it's called Bamboozic, which is a great name. I got to pull my volume back up as well before I hit play. That would help. that was Bambuzik by I've forgotten your name already because my
Omega
H is on Omega Eggs. Yes.
Yes.
Oh no! All play. Go away.
Oh my god.
Evil.
Wow.
You were doing fine until this point.
So I loved that. I loved the little percussion. I loved all the different changing sounds. I loved all the space, right? And then it was still interesting. If I had one nitpicky thing, that main chord, that very sort of simple pad thing, I wanted to hear it like filter or shift or maybe change over time because it's such a core element of the song, right? It's just wow, wow, and like just it didn't even have to be like one of those progressive house tricks. God forbid that I'm admitting that I know these, right? But with progressive house, they don't like to do quick changes, right? The whole way that the changes are made is very slow over time, and there's a lot of these long filter openings. So I find it really interesting to apply those types of tricks over totally opposite types of production aesthetics, which would be this, which I would kind of call the like sort of kawaii hyper pop sort of camp, right? Where usually there's a lot of fast changes. And in this case, you have a lot of different elements. So I don't want to suggest you doing something spastic and glitchy and super fast and changing a lot. I'm suggesting that you do something really long over time so that that pad just kind of rolls gradually. And then it doesn't distract from all the beautiful other quick changes going on, but it just evolves a little bit. Because it is a very simple sound, which is good and mixes well. But yeah, it would just be a really cool thing. And this is nitpicky because I loved it. What about you, Natty?
I thought it was a great piece as well. My only, again, this is a really nitpicky thing, is that section around, what time is that? 2:23, where you repeat your A line and then you repeat that 2 times over, right? Or 3 times even. And it would have been really nice to sort of have a C section melodically there, just to sort of break it up before you have that interesting down-tempo twist towards the end. Because it was just on the verge of overstaying its welcome with that main melodic hook, personally. But that, again, like it's a solid piece, so this is really, really nitpicky.
Absolutely, but loved it. Really, really cool. Cool. Yeah, and I just before we go into the next track, because I think our banter is just one of those A+ things that I don't want to give up. We had a comment way earlier, basically just like about being signed to a label, with that comment of like, what's the point? Is there a point? Is there a point of being signed? I gotta get real. Oh, the C section. Yes. Rags, damn it. Why aren't you on the stream with us? You're clever as hell. Yeah, I just wanted to dive into that a bit because I am not sure that I understand the point of most things in this just weird timeline that we're in. And I want to share a little bit of a personal story. So right now, I'm actually not releasing really much as ill-esha unless it's a sample pack or like a collab and stuff like that. I'm doing a newer project called Ellipse. And I kind of decided that this was an opportunity for me to start again in terms of experimenting with different strategies as well as different styles of music. And so one of the things I never did was hire a PR company, because when I was a broke artist, I didn't have any money. And now I'm a little bit older and I've sort of gotten to the other side of the equation where like I'm doing okay, but what I don't have a lot of is time. So I don't have time to sit on social media and flog my posts and post every day and stuff. So I thought, okay, I'm going to hire a professional company, and I paid them, like a couple of $1,000s, let's just say, around that amount, and was really excited to say, hey, what can they do? This was kind of similar to being signed like a label, because I've always said that the point of being signed to a label is to access the network and the promotional drive that that label and that crowd has, right? Like if you have a good label, they should be exposing you to the fans of the label. And something like Ninja Tune, which is a label that has been super supportive and involved in creating this channel, they've got such a talented roster of artists that being on Ninja Tune is less about, do I make money or blah, 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 and more like, hey, the people who listen to all these amazing artists I like will be exposed to my music. So I always said that. So anyways, back to my story, I hire this company thinking, okay, they are a PR company for types of artists that I like, and maybe similar thing. I'm not on a label, but I'll get to the same crowd. Well, guess what they did? They botted the hell out of everything. So even though I don't do that, I really hate that. I don't want to pay for bots. I don't feel real about it. I just paid another company to pay for bots. And that was a real piss off. I got to be real. Like, they did an interview with me, and at first it was like getting like 12,000 likes. I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then I looked close, and it's like Azerbaijan 45 leaves a comment for Perjeet 52, nice track, bro. And I'm just like, my heart just kind of sank and was like, ugh, like this is, and here's the thing. Right? So there was another comment earlier in the chat that these days, if you don't have pitch correction on your vocals, they sound wrong and out of place because everyone else does. So this is the same defense that I'm going to sit with this PR company. Like, I don't really totally blame them in the end, because now everything is so botted that if you don't do that, you look weak. You look like you don't have numbers compared to the people who are. So I don't want to name and shame, because they did actually do a lot of good, legit sort of outreach too. But it just sort of before my eyes flashed at what this weird reality is, where like there's just bots talking to each other, there's dead internet, there's all this other sort of factors. So we go back to the original topic of what is the point of making music. And to me, there's two parts of it. There's expressing yourself and the joy that it brings to you, and there is the potential to connect with people. And let me tell you that no matter what, even if you feel like no one is listening and nobody likes it, somebody somewhere loves it. It's just happened. Like, I even a while ago I took down my first album, which is like a singer-songwriter album I made in 2007 or something like that. I took it off the internet because I just hated it. I was so mad about it. I just was like, I'm way better now. I swear to God, like a year ago, somebody's like, "What happened?" They just wrote to me on Instagram. "This is my favorite album. Why did you take it out?" And it just goes to show you there is always somebody that it makes a difference to. And then, like I said, there's the part where you get to express your heart. So all I can say is, like, I don't know that there is a point in being signed to a label unless, like I said, it is a label that has a community of other artists that people go to. Like, they are tastemakers and they can get you sort of exposed to that crowd. But I wouldn't think about like money. The money is so small, it's fractured. And I recently also saw something from a guy who looked into the performance rights organizations, and he found that even the local organization that handles your royalties is not actually getting the raw data, so they have no way to verify it. So there's basically just this corrupt system of trust-based capitalism that I don't really believe in. So in the end, it's been very freeing for me to say, you know what? I'm not really worried about the fraction of a penny that somebody's lying to my local performance rights organization about. I'm just going to make music when I feel like it. And I think the biggest thing that has relaxed me is to just sort of go like this to social media and been like, oh, I'm sorry, I need to post every day. No. I need to post only on Fridays? No. I need to release a new song every month? No. So the freeing part about this is none of that crap matters anymore. You do not need to wait till Tuesday and Thursday and do this and tag this. Nothing matters. Everything's anarchy. Be your freaking self. That is beautiful. And being human is rare and real and wonderful. And being imperfect is gorgeous. So please, like I said, that first song, it was a great song, perfect formula, and all I wanted was to hear a little bit of weird humanity in it. So, keep going with that. Natty, I mean, how are you feeling about music these days, right?
Well, it's funny that you talked about the botting thing, right? Because, one, we've had a lot of AI acts that are all fake people, and most of them are botted too. The press doesn't seem to notice. Even though you can, it's not that hard to go onto Spotify and see, there was that one from last year, The Velvet Sundown, and they had a playlist that they were on called Vietnam War Music, and it was one of these sort of botted playlist networks, and it's super obvious, especially since they weren't picking up any followers or any other interesting playlists that made any sense. Like, it was just nonsense. And you can also see it whenever their stats tank, right? There was a big deal about this Zanaya Monet reaching millions of listeners a month, and she's now lost about 1.5 million monthly listeners in a space of 3 weeks because it's all bots. It's not real people. Drake was suing Universal Music last year over Kendrick Lamar's diss track, right? And he accused Kendrick Lamar and UMG of botting the song to make it more popular to win the beef, was the effectively, and defame him. But here's the thing. He was like, they're botting him because, they botted me. Right? That was his evidence. He
Oh,
openly admitted in court that they've been bought Drake's music for years, and I figured that out a while back as well because his numbers don't make sense either. There's like he's I don't know anyone who actually likes Drake. Not since I
empirical
think it's
evidence,
like one.
folks.
I think there's like one song. It was from like
Yeah.
2014 or something. One song, one of those ones that it was like I can't remember what it was called even. Like it was Hold On We're Going Home. I think that was the last one I can think of that was actually legitimately popular in the mainstream. Nothing else he's done since has made any sense for the numbers he's getting on Spotify.
Oh, no. Funny that you mentioned that song. I think we did a cover of it, and that's the only Drake song I remember being aware of. So there's
But
more
that's exactly my
empirical,
point.
totally not anecdotal evidence. But yeah, I mean, big shouts out to Dan Mac 84. I mean, I think that the music is going to go back to these underground live things. Dan's holding it down with open mic stuff, and that is so beautiful, right? Just the improvisational, the community, all of the stuff that we're missing. I also noticed, speaking of our Lord and founder, that Pirate TV is back and doing live concerts, and I just watched a little bit, and it just made my heart sing to just see like live jamming, artists coming up, real people, crowds, real life. On the flip side, I saw somebody on our Discord that I have not forgotten this comment, and it has made me so sad. It was like, I haven't gone outside in 3 weeks. I wish there was an app to remind me to go outside. So that has been haunting me, where it's like, I know that some of you were born after the time where you were allowed to just go and run around outside all day. But my gosh, get outside, breathe. Like, this is going to sound counterproductive, but like the best thing for creative block and hopelessness and futility is to just get away from your computer screen. So personally, I've been doing crochet. I've been feeding my 5 ducks and building little things for them and cooking stuff for eggs. And like Amish farm / Enya years playing my clavichord. But you know what? There is something about touching something. There is something about the fact that I have to tune the clavichord, that the strings vibrate, that I can hit them at a weird angle and get something metallic. And it just reminds me that I'm alive. So I highly, highly recommend having a non-computer hobby that you kind of force yourself off the computer to do for big periods of time, because then you'll actually like want to go back in there, right? That's where I am now. What do you do when you're blocked, Andy?
I go for a walk. Sometimes that's actually if you can find a nice spot you actually like walking to, then that can be quite nice. Especially like sometimes I find it really difficult to produce when I'm in a bad mood, right? So the first thing I need to prioritize is not being in a bad mood.
For sure.
I also want to give a big shout out to ill-esha Boy for donating all those memberships to other folks in the chat. That was very kind of you. And also a big shout out again to EMOM, Electronic Music Open Mic, which is what Daniel McPhee over there in the chat is hosting over in London. Because they're all over the place. I've lost track of exactly how many cities do EMOMs now. But their entire thing is about, one, embracing the imperfection of live music, but also they're all constantly trying to teach each other all these new tricks and play with each other's little gadgets and whatever else, because it is electronic music. And it's not just, it's anything on the computer. Like, these people doing circuit bending where they're taking apart toys and radios and stuff and making weird noises out of those, and building weird oscilloscope Eurorack modules type stuff, and then seeing how far they can go before they break their wallets, I think.
Yeah, and people are talking about getting more doing live stuff. Again, I would absolutely encourage that. There are so many cool new tools and plugins. Maybe we'll talk about some of them later. Who's up next?
We have Passage up next with a little Bandcamp link here. This song is called Sunrise Burning Me. And did they have specific feedback? Because I struggle mainly with mixing and EQing, so any advice on that? I also want to know how the song makes people feel.
All right.
This is very vibey.
Very, very, very vibey. I can actually understand why you say you're struggling with mixing, because there's a lot to this.
Yeah, and another classic piece of ill-esha feedback is like play inspector, send a secret mission out on the low end of every channel, because often there is just low end hiding in stuff that does not have low end at all. This happens very often, whether you use samples or whether you use synth, the same truth. There's often stuff just in the bottom that you didn't ask for that's kind of sitting there and you can't hear it, but it is clogging up your mix. So I would just go through with an EQ and just sweep. Sweep. The old classic trick is like put the low cut on and then like up until you can hear it, and then pull it back down and just see what you don't need. My biggest sort of watch out is when you're cutting off, don't use too steep a slope though, because the steeper the slope, the more you get this wonderful sort of phasing stuff that happens with EQing, and you can actually push up the resonance of stuff down there. So gentle slope, but just sweep it around on all your tracks. And if you don't need it, remove it if you need the CPU or whatever. But just check it out, because that's usually the first place where hidden crap sits. So I would go there first. And then the other thing is, I couldn't tell, Nettie, I almost thought that you had your mic on for some of it because it sounded like there was a lot of like high-end noise, like air and
No,
stuff.
I had my mic completely muted.
Yeah, so I think that there's just a lot of extra stuff that is sitting there that isn't doing anything because it just sounded very like, I was like, what's going on? Is there street noise in the background? Maybe you have ambient stuff in the background, but it's taking too much space. So I think you've got a lot of fantastic things, and the chat absolutely loves this track. You know, it's really good nostalgia, but it needs some cleaning up. What did you hear, Natty?
I heard a lot of the same stuff. I also do want to chip in on the EQ thing because some types of EQ also have their own biases depending on which cut you're using. And that can often be tied to which performance mode as well they're in. And so sometimes when you're writing the piece, obviously you don't really want to worry about it too much. And it does mean what you're going to have to do actually sometimes is go in isolation and do this extreme high cut version that you might put on a separate track just for... and then you turn it off when you're running performance mode, you know, just when you need to optimize. Because it can get a little bit weird. EQ, even though we try to believe it's sort of an arbiter of truth, you know? Something objective and factual and trustworthy. All of them are built with different algorithms in mind, with different emulations in mind. There's a lot of hardware that was already initially imperfect that these plugins are trying to replicate in some way sometimes. So like you're gonna have to experiment a little bit, I think, with that one and see if you can understand your own plugins, because I think that's a lot of what this comes down to. Yeah, the moderation keeps. We need to figure out how to fix that. Boop. Yeah, a lot of this does come down to really learning your plugins inside and out and actually listening to what they're doing. Because, especially with a track like this, it's absolutely beautiful, but you have done something that is deceptively very complicated. And
yeah.
It's like when people say, "Oh, it's hard," it means you're actually pushing yourself, which is a good thing. There's a friend of mine. She's an artist, illustrator, right? And I constantly have to remind her that the reason she keeps on saying, "Oh, this is hard and that's hard," is because she's actually trying new stuff and really pushing herself. She's not relying on the same old safe stuff that she already knows how to do. And so the minute you hit a brick wall, you need to have an honest discussion yourself. Is it because it's that's either you need to have a break or something, in which case, you know, then come back and get your clean, or is it because you actually are pushing yourself? Like, don't be afraid of difficulty. That just means that you're actually engaging with your own growth.
Yes, absolutely. What happened to our bot, Natty? I feel like we used to have a bot that would like announce every 15 minutes the link, but I think it must.
No, it must be dead.
Maybe it didn't pass the new Discord age check or something.
I don't know. God, so I turned Volta off right now, right, and it seems to have stabilized things, but they stopped supporting public Volta, right, which I find really annoying. And I think what's happened is my GPU drivers, I've updated them to keep up to date with my video editor and everything, right? And now it's out of sync with Volta's optimizations, so it doesn't run properly anymore.
Yeah, I would love, if anyone else knows, we used to use Volta and we recommended it all the time for just like easy live visuals, but they did a pivot.
They rug-pulled us.
Well, okay, but they were giving away a really cool tool for free. So I was wondering when they were going to sort of run out of money, right, and have to do something else. And I think that they just got to that point where they were like, well, we've given away a free thing to all these DJs, and now we're going to have to do something else. So I don't really blame them, but yeah, that's probably what's going on. So if anyone knows a good real-time live visuals thing that we could run with the stream, I think all of these subs make me think that we should do it more often again. So I think we've been painted into a very nice
for
corner.
Monthly or something. If I feel like I could sustain that, especially since so there was a project I was interested in doing real life, but I probably won't be needing it on anymore, and that was going to be a monthly thing. So I'm thinking, well, if I have bandwidth for that, I might have bandwidth for monthly this again.
Yeah,
there's a space.
For sure. Oh, Baco Bibizo put a track in. Nice.
Yep. So Baco is next after Noctivagi, or Noctivagi.
Noctivagi.
Yeah, it's hard to tell sometimes where someone's coming from with pronouncing. This is labeled hip hop and rap, and the feedback request was no censorship, full feedback was the request. So, I don't think usually we don't have to roast people, but you're inviting us to if we feel the need to. So there we go. This is purring in the rain, which this cute little kitty as a background. Where's my mouse gone? Hello.
Ay, 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 ay. Autoplay for the lose. That was super nice. Again, it was like music to study to, but it wasn't boring. I was interested. I think it was some of the really nice sort of noise texturing and movement that you did. So well done.
The one thing I have a little bit of, this is as a roast, there was this sort of snare pattern in the back. And I felt like a couple of points where it was almost too mechanical and repetitive. Like, the aesthetic of the track gives me, like, it's like MPC, you know, that classic sort of people actually playing with their hands with the sample, mixy, mashy up kind of stuff, right? But then it's obvious from some of the background stuff that you have done this in a DAW. And you haven't gone back over to sort of add those minor human variations back into some of the layers. So if I was going to start anywhere, that would be that. But the rest of the production was really solid. So that's where I'm feeling on that one. I've also realized, ill-esha, that you're on a different channel on my voice meter, right? And so my button I thought had been muting you has not been doing any.
Well, the nice thing about that is that I happen to be an audio engineer, so I've been muting myself. Lucky you. What do you get when you have two live stream producers in a room?
They at least back each other up.
Yes. Yeah. You know, this is one piece of advice I would give to anyone is just never assume that you're muted. Mistakes are made. Battles are lost. But yeah, you said RPG coffee shop game. I mean, definitely. But you know what? I would enjoy an RPG coffee shop game. I think being in a coffee shop is really fun.
I maybe we need to actually have a coffee shop real life that feel like runs like an RPG. You go in and it's like you get experience points and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I agree. Oh man, yeah, this was great. I don't really have anything to roast.
Yeah, there's
I don't think I
nothing to
have
roast.
anything to roast. Like it's too.
Why is this always
if I were,
happens? The people who are like
if I were to
really
roast
confident are the
anything,
worst stuff, you know?
you didn't do anything crazy enough for us to roast. This track is so this is me trying to
It's
be
so
mean
chill.
everywhere.
Like,
This track is so well mixed that I didn't even notice it, yo. But I was gonna say, like, a huge comment I have in general, just knowing you, Baco Bebizo, is like the mix and everything is like quite leveled up from the
that
last
was,
time we were streaming.
Oh, is it
Really
that?
good.
That was a different person. This is
Oh.
Baco's next. Sorry.
Never mind.
Noctavaji.
Noctavaji is Noctavaji. The mixing is great. Then I never heard you before. So I don't know how we were before.
It's okay. It's okay. But Baco does say I have improved a bit. So we'll see.
Setting the
if that holds up.
stage. Does he have specific feedback for this one?
No. Long time no see. Long time no see indeed. It's funny saying long time no see to a text box and not a person. Okay, let's go.
Wow.
I've improved a bit. You lied. You improved a lot, Baco. That sounds really good.
Oh, man, that was so satisfying. And not even just the mix, which was really like clean and luscious and punchy, but like the evolution of it, right? And this is kind of an example for a lot of the stuff we've been saying to the guests earlier. There's something that happens and you get used to it, and then it takes elements out and it gives it a different space to breathe in, and it's just lovely, really lovely. Natty, I hope you have a monologue because I got nothing. It's great.
That's the thing. It's like I don't have any real notes either. I mean, it's only 3 minutes long, but doesn't feel like it should go longer or be shorter or anything like that. It's very balanced for arrangement. I'm. It's one of those fun things because it has been a while since we've done one of these. Bacco used to send in submissions every week or every other week, and sometimes a couple of submissions per episode, right? So, but it's actually been a long time since I've heard any of his work. And like I don't think you were bad before, but you're really coming into your own now, I think, and that's really fun to see.
Yeah.
Are we going to YouTube, Isha?
Yes, we are. We are going onto YouTube. It will be. It's streaming to our YouTube. It should be. I set it up, so you should be able to watch it. But what number is Isha Boy in the queue? We could also move you to the closer to the end. Oh yeah,
I forgot we used to do that as well. Let's see, 1, 2, 3 away. But
okay. Well, I would just
we'll do,
move them.
Yeah, we'll do Isha Boy next, and Lamb, because he did donate a whole lot of thingies as well. So I forgot.
Isha Boy just said that they're stepping away now, though. So maybe we actually. That's why I said push them till a little bit later, and then just.
Oh yeah, we can do that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, Lumber.
Any specific feedback? No. So anything goes. The song is called Feedback.
All right. Straight to the point.
I wake up mad, teeth grit, jaw lock, vein show. Every little slide in my head on a loop like a bad promo. Talk cheek, I text her. You buck online, then backtrack. I've been in the mud and the smoke, you just in a group chat. Caps lock, I don't need peace, I need answers. You threw shade, now you dancers. Spinning that story, then tagging my name. I turn your whole script into ashes. I'm pissed off, say something. I dare you to breathe my way, all that slick talk. Stay bluffing, till I step in and clear that space. Got red in my vision, I'm locked in. Every grudge, every slight, I clocked it. You woke up a problem you can't fix. I'm rage on a short fuse, watch this. You flex that rent car like a trophy. I see straight through that smoky. You post that life like a highlight reel, but the real you low-key broke weak. I took every can like a death threat. Wrote your names down, that's a set list. I don't want love, I want respect. And if I can't get that, I want wreckage. You laugh at my pain, I'm patient. I turn that left to a face in the pavement. You turned your back, now you pray I forget. But I keep that file in the basement. I'm pissed off, say something. I dare you to breathe my way, all that slick talk. Stay bluffing, till I step in and clear that space. Got red in my vision, I'm locked in. Every grudge, every slide, I clocked it. You woke up a problem you can't fix. I'm rage on a short fuse, watch this. Teeth grit, jaw lock, vein show. Every little slide in my head on a loop like a bad promo. Talk cheek, I text her. You buck online, then backtrack. I've been in the mud and the smoke, you just in a group chat. Caps lock, I don't need peace, I need answers. You threw shade, now you dancers. Spinning that story, then tagging my name. I turn your whole script into ashes. I'm pissed off, say something. I dare you to breathe my way, all that slick talk. Stay bluffing, till I step in and clear that space. Got red in my vision, I'm locked in. Every grudge, every slight, I clocked it. You woke up a problem you can't fix. I'm rage on a short fuse, watch this. You flex that rent car like a trophy. I see straight through that smoky. You post that life like a highlight reel, but the real you low-key broke weak. I took every can like a death threat. Wrote your names down, that's a set list. I don't want love, I want respect. And if I can't get that, I want wreckage. You laugh at my pain, I'm patient. I turn that left to a face in the pavement. You turned your back, now you pray I forget. But I keep that file in the basement. I'm pissed off, say something. I dare you to breathe my way, all that slick talk. Stay bluffing, till I step in and clear that space. Got red in
This just has full of Pitbull vibes for me.
Is it? Is it Pitbull? Like, what is it?
That
What
it's
is it?
not. It's definitely not because Pitbull doesn't swear.
Oh.
So that's an easy. You know, he's not. He's quite mainstream and safe in that regard. So that yeah, but.
Well,
It's just
who
the
is
style
that?
Of it, you know. This is
Mr.
Lamb.
World.
I assume it's his own. They're just saying that, making a joke about Pitbull being Mr. Worldwide,
Oh.
but it's just the
Oh,
vocal
yay.
style of it reminds me of that, you know, like sort of where it's not rap, is it? Like it's not rap, it's not spoken poetry either. It kind of sits in this weird.
Yeah, it's a
Middle
little bit
ground.
like the rapper who can't rap styles, like. But it's well done. I don't.
Yeah, it's
know,
for this
but
for
it's
this type of beat, it actually works. Like it's actually fine.
No,
I think
it's
partly because it's on the beat, you know, because it's such a housey track that it being on the beat doesn't, you know, with hip hop and rap, you tend to expect a little bit of swing. But with house, it's like a vocal line can be played really straight because everything else is providing the groove.
Yeah, no, and I like it. It's like it's a super fun party track. I mean, it sounds really like bouncy and fun, and you know, it's just it's definitely a dance floor. I was already like partying here alone in my little room. So
And it has a sense of humor too. Like even just it's not that he's mad; he's just mildly pissed off.
yeah, exactly. That's what makes it fun. Like it's not trying to take itself too seriously. So I mean, I think that would be my only tip in general for making songs like this. And you've done it well, right? Like don't take yourself too seriously. Have fun. And it's the same philosophy when I am doing sound design for toys, because no one asked. So I'm going to tell you all anyways that it's a wild thing where if I'm not having fun, is anyone else going to have fun? And it's very similar to the process of making music that is destined for people to have fun. You have to get yourself in that headspace first. And it sounds like Lamb was having a blast. So I'm picturing them rocking out in their studio, and I want to be there with them. Good one.
I think if I had any minor production feedback, it would be that the vocals sometimes gets a little bit subdued under the rest of the mix down, and one of the ways you can get around that personally is something I've been experimenting with myself with vocal effects and things, with trying to do something that fits live, because mixing live stuff is really hard. Is basically doing a joint double track where it's a little bit of a mild performance shift for a lower pitch under my voice, and it gives it more body.
Yeah, I've done that too, where it's like you don't want to make it too audible because you don't want it to sound weird, but you just want to give yourself a little bit of harmonic heft, right?
Yeah, it's a weight to it, a literal weight to it, I think, is the goal. And it might be worth experimenting with something like that with this, because you can do it really subtle, and it's not melodic tuning, right? So you can get away, the fact that it's not sung, you can still do this without it being sung.
Yes, sounds good. Koitex, we ain't gonna skip you. Don't play like that.
No.
You're part of the party, and you're also an OG. So Koitex and I used to hang out like, I don't know, at least 20 years ago at this point. Like old school, original Toronto junglist selecta.
That explains
And
the poutine.
that explains yeah, I mean, of course, we're Canadian. What do you think you're doing here? This track is 20 years old. Nice. And not done. Being a producer in one sentence.
Oh dear, I'm not looking forward to that day.
Let's hear
It
it.
will happen. This is Sunset Tabernacle, which is also a very Canadian sounding song title. Alright, let's see.
It makes me feel so real inside, and like life is just a dream. When the sun sets, when the sun sets, as the sun sets. The wind blows softly against my face. The shade cast by the true beauty, one that which I could never forget. When the sun sets, it makes life feel so surreal. When the sun sets, when the sun sets. When look at the beauty as the sun sets. Until the skies have become truly starlit.
So, the sun is definitely set here, although it's very stormy, so it's a bit early.
Oh, there's a break at the end. He wants it. He wants us to keep going to the break at the end. Yeah. Bring it back up. Bring it up. Rewind. Bo, 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 bo.
There's something that happens when the sun sets. It makes me feel so real inside. And like.
All right. That was rinsing. You know, for being 20 years old, it still sounds pretty good. Like, it still sounds pretty clean. And sounds like you also have real gear, which I'm guessing that if it was 20 years ago, you did. But by that, I just mean it has a really nice, like, deep analog, the opposite of that Nyquist digital AI crunch. So it's got a lot of nice bottom-heavy goodness. What do you think, young Nathaniel?
Well, the question was, where do we go next with this? And I think the idea itself of what happens at a sunset is interesting, and like the track itself is very, you know, that sort of stuff with the funk music, with everyone driving their low-slung cars and whatever. It has a similar sort of atmosphere to that, which is definitely very sunset. But you never really answer the question of what a sunset is like in your poetry. It might be worth see if you could find a poet, maybe even a lady poet, to provide a sort of counter narrative to your story. And you know, I don't know whether you've ever heard of, there's an artist, they go by the name K Tempest, and one of the things they do is a lot of slam poetry over interesting beats like this, and so it can be done. And it might even be fun. You're like, one of the things as well when you're looking at a really old track is, how do you get the motivation to finish something that's been in your archive forever? So making it a sort of an experimental, what if I bring someone completely new who might not even necessarily do stuff over music normally? You can suddenly end up with a whole new energy in the room that makes you really want to finish the project.
Yeah. A fresh voice would be good. And then also, I think just like speaking as somebody who was there with you 20 years ago, like stuff has really changed. And some of it is people's attention spans. And not that you should pander to this. Like, I'm definitely not saying chop it up to a TikTok or something. But I think that we also made our arrangements for a time when people had vinyl, right? And they wanted like 2 minutes of rolling breaks so that we could do our super long vinyl mixes. And people just don't do that anymore. And I have to admit, like, I consider myself have to have a fairly decent attention span. And I have a hard time listening to tracks like that end to end, because even when I listened to them, I was mixing them and I was listening to people mix them, right? So I just think that like, if you're not like these days when people don't do long mixes, you should make your track thinking of it as a standalone first, and then like, I'm sorry, but modern DJs have it so freaking easy, right? Like if you want to loop a track that isn't long enough, you can just make a loop on the spot of a part that will keep going. That being said, I love that break at the end. It sounds good. I wanted it sooner or somewhere else, you know, like stuff like that. And so I think nowadays it's definitely like, do not have to pander to the attention spans. That's not what I'm saying, Baco. It's more like just understand that things are sort of self playing. They're not usually part of these long journeys anymore. So just regardless of the attention span, I think it still drags out to not be mixing a track like that. So yeah, extended club mix. Dan Mack was saying that's also a good, you can do a really long mix. But also, yeah, how do you get the motivation to finish? First of all, I think the wonderful thing to know is like stuff doesn't really go away. I mean, I will, full disclosure, I'm too lazy to do this, but I have everything I've ever made on different hard drives and different computers. I think I even have my old computer in a little box. And you can always pull an idea out. Sometimes you have to put more effort in than others, but it's never totally dead. And I did release a track. It was either last year or the year before, because time doesn't mean anything anymore because I'm old. But I started this track in 2013 with my friend B Complex, and we
I
just
remember that track. Yeah,
we never finished it. And then a couple years ago, we were just like, you know what? Let's finish it. Why the hell not? And bless her, she's still using Renoise, so we had to like rebounce it back and forth, and then we released it. And it was, like years and years, eight years at the time we released it. So you can always come back to something. And I think that just approaching it with that mentality, this is a little bit Buddhist, but like letting stuff go puts you in a different psychological mind frame to pick it back up. Because my biggest flaw as an early producer is just, I have, let's just say, some like spectrum traits, right? And one of them is like wanting to finish everything and be completed. And that has really blocked me from experimenting with other music. It's like, oh no, this idea, I have to see it through exactly to the end or I am not able to start another one. And I think just having that letting go of like, it's still going to be here. You can always come back to it. If it's worth it, you will. And if not, you'll come up with so many more ideas that, you know, are better. But you may just come back to this like Joel 20 years ago and go, hey, you know what? Like, I can totally take this up a notch. And there's even like new experiences in my life that I've been through and places I've been to and just different flavor that I can put into like who I am now and approach this track in a different way. So I think just, modernizing it in maybe in the middle, having something in, maybe another vocalist, like you said, Natty, maybe even just another instrument or texture, because it does get a little bit repetitive. So sometimes just, old fashioned musician style, like just write another part in the middle, doesn't even necessarily need fancy tricks.
So, sorry, I had something, and I just lost my train of thought, which is great. It was a little bit of a, you want to go back to things, back up your stuff, and also if you're using old hard drives or anything, make sure to plug them in occasionally. SSDs are the worst for us, but even hard drives, if you don't plug them in and give them some juice every so often, they will die. It gets harder and harder to access on them. So make sure that when you're doing backups, do it properly. If you can have a cloud one as well, brilliant. But yeah, if you want to give yourself flexibility to go back, actually make sure you have the stuff to go back to. That was what I was going to say.
Very good reminder. Very good. What's up
yes,
next?
I've been having to think a lot about backups with my work lately. So
nerd.
Next up we have Isha Boy, and this is it's 1 hour 37 minutes. So if someone can make a note of that to ping them for the VODs later, that'd be handy. And this song and its album are inspired by growing up playing competitive Counter-Strike and thinking about identity, pressure, nostalgia, and what I choose to put our energy into. With becoming a father soon, Creating this has also been a way for me to shift more of my time from gaming towards creating. Now this is, I'm just going to chip in a little bit here. It's quite interesting because I was like, oh, Counter-Strike, that means they must be quite young. But Counter-Strike must be around for like, what, 16, 17 years now at this point, if not older. So like, yeah, maybe I'm going to become a dad now. Like, what is time, Isha? What is time? This is Clutch Your Kicks by Isha Boy, aka AKS.
I'm down too short, one long, one B. You got this. Drop a smoke, pop flash, double fake, sound cue, don't break, tap the bomb, make them shake off, angle, jiggle, peak, hold the line, don't speak, trick it down, stay cold, 1v4, people, heart's beating, my hands are shaking, but I'm still shooting. My heart's beating, my hands are shaking, but I'm still shooting. Hear the crowd, hear the crowd. Clutch your kick, clutch your kick. All or nothing, all or nothing. All the other kicks, better clutch your kicks. You better F1, F1, my son. All the other kicks, better clutch your kicks. You better F1, F1, my son. All the other kicks, better clutch your kicks. You better nowhere to run. Quick switch, no scope. One shot, no hope. For firewall, bang, footsteps, heart sang. Bomb, tick, time, slow, last flash, let go. Dead air, screen going out. My heart's beating, my hands are shaking, but I'm still shooting. My heart's beating, my hands are shaking, but I'm still shooting. Hear the crowd, hear the crowd. Clutch your kick, clutch your kick. All or nothing, all or nothing. All the other kicks, clutch your kicks. You better F1, F1, my son. All the other kicks, clutch your kicks. You better F1, F1, my son. All the other kicks, better clutch your kicks. You better F1, nowhere to run. Ring around, feel alone. Hear the silence in your home. Press escape, cue again. Same night, same end. All the other kids, clutch your kicks. You better F1, 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 my son. All the other kids, clutch your kicks. You better F1, 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 my son. All the other kids, clutch your kicks. You better F1, 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 my son. All the other kids, clutch your kicks. You better F1, F1, nowhere to run. Clutch your kick, clutch your kick, clutch your kick.
This is a really funny piece because obviously the actual, Counter-Strike hotkey lingo in the song, right? But it also, because she's saying, oh, you better F1, it almost sounds like she's swearing at you.
Yeah. And what I was a little bit confused by some of the like cutout. Like it almost just sounded like that we had a third guest on the stream that was talking randomly and pulling down the music. So I think there's something about blending that vocal a bit more with the song because it sort of just sounded like a voiceover and then it would cut out and I'm like, what just happened? Who is that girl talking? Oh, that's part of the song. Whoops.
Yeah, it's like, it could do with a little bit more submersion with the rest of the mix. But
you know
the
what
other
I think
thing
it
as well
is?
She is very dry with no sort of delay or reverb really on her.
That and also like I think that kind of trick in production, it's sort of like mimicking a live DJ trick, but it sounds too in the box and produced, so it sounds weird. Like if it was like that and then there was sort of a little like a weird filter EQ and it sounded like a DJ kind of pulling it back, you know what I mean? Then it would also fit. But right now you're just like, what happened to that very polished track and this dry vocal that is suddenly on top of it? So it's almost like the rest of it is so impeccably produced that it doesn't sound like a live jam enough to be cut in and out like that without some effect smoothing it together, if that makes sense. Yeah.
That makes
The
sense
chat
to
said,
me.
Sat said it's a bit too Eurovision and could be a bit more trance. It is very like mainstream. And this is such a hard thing to do. That's why I try not to give like sort of creative feedback in like a I like it, I don't like it way, because I know that I have this tendency where like as soon as anything is really mainstream pop vibe, I'm just like, but it's just a Pavlov conditioning of like, if everyone else likes it, that means that it's doing the simplest, most predictable thing it should do. That's not a bad thing. I'm just like a heavily ADHD novelty seeker, so that's why I'm this spastic glitch kawaii type of person. But I recognize that, okay? And I think that it has a really, really fun energy and vibe.
Also, I'm just imagining Eurovision where where they are just playing songs that reference gaming and TikTok and stuff. Could you imagine? I think that the people watching Eurovision would probably lose their minds.
Well, you know what? Speaking of Eurovision, you know what's I think is so cool is that you guys have Look Mum No Computer as your
I
rep.
saw that. It's a really interesting choice because they don't do live music at Eurovision, right?
No, and he's all live. He's
Yes.
so live. So I don't know what his. I guess he's just going to be like the modular
just the
performance
making
version of
of-
lip syncing.
Well, but I think that's effectively what it'll be, and that's really strange to me. And
It's
I
like
think
miming.
Part of the reason they've done this is because they basically the UK never sends anyone good, right? And they I think they basically other people have given up wanting to try, and he's just like, yeah, let's just do it, you know. He doesn't have the career in a sense to lose by having a losing Eurovision entry.
I just think it's actually a really cool decision because he really is like an original live weird musician. He's not just some like pre-groomed pop star. Full disclosure, I barely knew what Eurovision was until I moved to Europe because it's not even like out there in the US. No one cares about it and it's not the right vibe. But then when I moved to Europe, I got a little overinvested and I actually happened to be in Helsinki by accident on the weekend of one of them where Finland was like in the running with Sweden to win, which so it was really intense because I was in Finland, but like clearly there's a lot of Swedish people up there too. So there was like a really high energy in the room and I just got really, really caught up in it. And man, what I noticed is that all of these countries like Sweden and the ones that place high just make the most boring pop songs now. And it disappoints me because I thought Eurovision was supposed to be about being flamboyant and weird and strange, but in the end, they pick the formula. So I have a love-hate thing with this where like, yeah, if I hear too much formula, it makes me go, but that doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that it's the thing that the most people are going to like.
Yeah, I don't know. In the UK at least, there's still a boycott of Eurovision because of political stuff. But also, I don't even know who's airing it this year. I think it might be the BBC still, and I don't pay a TV license, so I don't watch BBC.
Nice. TV? Who does pay a TV license?
I mean, maybe some of the stuff will pop up on YouTube afterwards, but it's that Eurovision occupies a really weird space, I think, just in terms of the people that are invested in it and whether they stay invested in it.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's so popular though. But anyways, I'm just glad we have a real synth modular guy.
And I'm also glad that people are making music about the video games they like. Because why not? Nerdcore is a thing.
That is beautiful. It is. At least we're in an era where it's cool to be a nerd. I love that.
Well, I don't know whether it is cool, but it's more if you have enough confidence that people don't judge you the same way. You know?
They're probably all bots anyways. Why worry about being judged? Whoever's judging you is likely to not even be real. Speaking of judging.
Next up is Judge. I started producing techno in the year after taking a hiatus for music for a few years. I switched over from a hip-hop background to EDM recently. I'm trying to refine my production style, but any feedback would be great.
Nice.
This is Antimatter by Judge. And I'll just make sure my volume's correct. Yep. We're good. Or I'll get an advert. I have ad blocker on, so it should be fine.
still the same song?
It is, yeah. Although it does, that transition is interesting because it does almost feel like you've suddenly gone into a second track, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if that it's trying like it's you say it's you're getting into techno right now. It sort of sits between like warehouse techno and acid techno, right? But
I don't even know how you know that, but I am taking your word for it.
It's the notch filtery sort of stuff like this coming up in the background here. That's very acid. Moog 3 and like Moog which was it? I can't. One of the Moogs had this sort of notch filter that became sort of really popular, and then there was the 303. I think also does sort of in that space too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then you also have a lot of very your drums are very warehousey rather than acidy, and it's sort of an industrial vibe. But I'm not sure the two actually quite work together the way you've got them. and I say a lot of that is because your drums are very dry. So you kind of need to start branching out and using some of the same weird acid stuff on everything. I think that kind of, there's bit crushing and obviously the filtering and it's.
I'm really impressed by your techno nuance because I'm transparently I have none. I'm like, cool, techno. Yeah.
The really
And
hilarious thing is I'm not a huge techno person, but I keep getting sent techno by people over
I do really like this acid stuff, like especially like actually this part right now in the background, even while I'm talking, is my favorite part because it's got a lot of really pleasing like stuff that is coming up, like treble, like really, really sort of high fidelity stuff that's giving me some interest. So I guess my feedback is I want to hear a little bit more of those elements, maybe sooner. And I understand
I
the
think
whole
pulling that forward would really be keeping everything more cohesive because the techno doesn't really do switch ups ever.
Yeah, exactly. So
I once went
so
to
you
a
could
club in Berlin and it was a really weird club, right? They had these old tram cars in there as like seating, and the bar was a circular bar, and it was just such a strange club. I can't even remember the name of it, and but the techno, obviously it was techno all night, and I personally could not tell the distinction between what was at the start of the night and what was at the end of the night.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that what you said about the drums is it's really interesting because I feel like I should know a lot more about this, but I couldn't put my finger on it, and there was some sort of lack of glue. And I think you're right, like there's something really clear and present and crystal about the acid elements, and then something very sort of, like you said, warehousey about the drums. So I think it can also be an interesting choice to not just do all the tropes of the genre, but there's just more of that sort of glue thing needed to be done. Like maybe you have to like have more send effects where you send more things, more different elements to that to make it feeling that it's in the same space, or maybe you process the warehousey drums a little bit tighter in places to just bring people into that cohesion. I don't know. This is me trying to give advice on a genre that I know nothing about, so also take it with a grain of salt.
If you want a cooking analogy, techno is very chicken, in that everything tastes like techno and techno, but you can season chicken in slightly different ways to still end up with something really nice.
Techno is chicken. I love you. And also, when did you go to a club in Berlin? Was that recently?
This is 2016.
Oh, wow.
This is a long time ago, a decade ago now.
Nice. I was going to say, because I haven't known you to go to a lot of clubs in your life.
No, I'm not. I'm still not much of a club person. This was just sort of because it was a study trip and everyone else was going, so I was like, screw it, why not? Let's just see what it's like. And not my vibe, but
amazing.
Tekken,
I think
Tekken and Chikno.
Chicken and Chickno.
If you have any
You
more
only
duck
need to-
babies, those are your two new names to add to the list.
Ah, Chickno. Really cute. All right, who's up next? We got Nick. Oh, I never know.
Sarah.
I feel like a Nick Sarah. I feel like a boomer when somebody gives me an artist name with a bunch of like consonants and was like, "Hey, what is this thing the kids are listening to? Is it Nick?"
Oh, Nick Sarah.
Nick.
Could you send another private link next? Oh, this is now going to be the fourth resubmission from you. You sent a private thing without the private code. I can't open it.
Bruh.
All right, we'll give you a couple minutes. Yeah, give you a couple minutes to fix that and have a little banter.
Okay, I need to talk about something because I'm not okay with it. Did you see the worship group, the drum and bass super group at Ultra Music Festival? Did you see that?
No, what? I'm very
Okay, so
confused now. A worship group and drum and bass, what?
Okay, so at first I thought it was like an April Fool's prank, and then I thought it was like a Christian gospel drum and bass group that was having their debut at Ultra, and who are these clowns? And it wasn't until I looked closer that I realized that it is some sort of drum and bass super group made up of like Sub Focus in 1991 and like all these other big artists from years ago that formed into some sort of music kraken and spit out what I can best describe as sounding like an AI generated Christian drum and bass banger, which is also why I thought it was Christian music. So I just want to say, like, if anyone else saw this and, like, I'm kind of not okay about it. It looked like an AI video, and it actually wasn't. It was a bunch of, like, drum and bass guys standing on a table and just, like, the worst incarnation of something that I've seen. And I couldn't put my finger on it, but there was a comment of, like, the four of you standing on the table is a message that you are more important than the music you just made. And so maybe that's what really bugs me about it is, like, I never really liked the Jesus pose stand on the table, but when it's like four guys looking like they're going to some sort of like tech support seminar, standing on the table to their like super overproduced formula thing, I'm just like, this is no. Good no. All right.
I think it's a really, where is Ultra usually held?
Miami, of course.
Miami. So I find that just in general a little bit weird right now, because there's a lot of what I would say is performative Christianity occurring, and the idea that some of these big drum and bass folks, like, clubbing is not religious. I mean, it can be, but like Christianity in particular, especially the more conservative Christians, for a long time considered clubbing to be basically the devil's work. So the idea that these drum and bass people are sort of like, let's go full Christian, and like performatively, obviously, is just so weird, you know?
I don't even know if that's what they're doing. It just had that like very cheesy, like, I don't know, maybe their subs were all in key. Maybe that's what I'm hearing. But let me tell you a funny, very personal, weird Christian accidental story. So my ex, who is a visuals guy, he does a lot of like projection mapping and big tours like that. He did like some of the Travis Scott stuff. He a long time ago, before he was that big, was hired to do some visuals for Cascade. Not knowing anything about Cascade, he just took the direction he was given, which is basically like movement, dance floor, body parts, right? This is very vague. So he made all these videos of exactly that, right? Like people's hips grinding and stuff. And then he gets this call like before the show. It's like, sorry, this isn't going to fly. This is all like too much. We didn't mean like, suggestive body parts. And then he found out that Cascade is Mormon. Which would have been a nice thing to know before you start doing a visual aesthetic for somebody, right? So
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah,
that
really
was good.
A random story. I don't even know what that guy's doing now. All right, did Nick Sarah get off the tabs? Do we get a link that works?
We're gonna move it with Nick Sarah next era even. Oh no, you just took it enough.
Bruh. All right. Let's
see what you're up to. Make sure that volume correct. Yeah, we're good.
Let's go. Let's go.
was Move It by Next Era, and that was definitely a bass house track, which I do have to admit I have a soft spot for bass house. Just the way the sounds sound, like the way the sounds sound, the way the bass sort of is always so big and punchy, like really is quite satisfying for me. In a way that a lot of other more like similarly clubby music doesn't necessarily scratch that itch. So that's really fun. But I don't know. It's just something feels missing from this still, and I'm not sure what.
I don't know, like you must have like a rotating roster of let's just say augmentations, because this doesn't go with dabs to me at all. I'm just like, if I'm dabbed out, I'm on like half this BPM. Like I'm running at like 45, like chopped and screwed. So like you must have been out or something the day that you made this track. But you know what I think is missing, and this goes back, like this is going to be the most terrible thing to say because it's the center of your track. Let me diverge and try to make it entertaining. So when I was making my sample pack, Intonations, I did a bunch of sort of shit take, like what are the most tropey tropes of things that spoken vocals or like what people get. So I have a whole folder that's just like 3, 2, 1, dab on it, like all of the like sayings of the time. And funnier story, way later, this famous YouTuber, I can't remember who he is, found it completely unironically and like thought I was serious and got so bent out of shape he did a whole stream about it. He's like, I cannot believe that sample packs have sunk this low. This thing so out of touch is getting released. Anyways, Let's Go belongs in that folder. Let me just say that. So I would honestly like the track. The vibe is fire, right? Like, and you said it's fun, it's bouncy, it's really good. But Let's Go is one of those like 10 things that the animatronic DJ at the discount store at the end of the roadside attraction would say, if there was such a thing, right? It would be like, 3, 2, 1, put your hands in the air. Isn't there like a meme of a Venn diagram of like preachers, toddlers, and DJs where it's just like, yeah, put your hands in the air. It's like, and then I can't remember the rest of it, but I would just honestly like just try and find something else that has that rhythm that isn't Let's Go.
Clap your hands with another one. That's on the Venn diagram. Clap your hands, put your hands in the air, and there was something else. What was the third? There was something else in there as well, but like
But here's the funny thing is, like, if you like, remember what I said about like not taking yourself too seriously. I feel like this is another moment where like if you could even say Let's Go, but like in like the different voice of like the meme bro being like Let's Go or something that would just make it funny, right? And because then you're just like,
the obvious response would be to have a sample of a kid somewhere saying, "Are we there yet?"
Yeah, or yeah, let's go. Like just something, because the way that it's said is also just too serious, where you're just like, oh, come on. Okay, boomer, right? Let's go. Dad, go back to bed. It's a Tuesday night. We're not going anywhere, Dad. So the rest of the track has great bounce, but then like have more fun with it. I mean, you don't have to go Skrillex like random child sample that's out of place, but there's a lot of like funnier variations, or even like you could have the person say slightly different things. Like it just there's a lot more dynamic that could be at the center of your song, and it deserves better than like stock generic vocal sample. That's kind of what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. There's I just thought of it's a funny question, isn't it? Actually, so I know you're not much of a Trekkie, Isha, but one of the ongoing things the writers in modern Trek all seem to be obsessed with right now is having every captain come up with some stupid way of saying get out, let's go kind of thing. That's literally the. Like, it's okay, in the Next Generation, back in the 90s, Captain Picard always said engage, and then they go off to war,
yes.
And that's great. But apparently they all have to have their own unique one now. Why?
That's it. You just fixed his track. Just sample Picard saying engage.
Engage.
Engage. Engage. Wow,
So-
you solved it.
We'll get featuring Patrick Stewart. Yeah, let's go. Make It So. That was another one as well. Make It So, Mr.
Yeah.
Crusher.
Yeah, and then just having fun with it, right? Because the other thing is, like, even half seriously, let's say you did do that, then you have this like cultural nostalgia that kicks in. So like the people who know what it is are just like, yeah, Star Trek, right? And then people who don't are just like, ooh, this is fun. So just tapping into like the nostalgia and also just the novelty, like either end of the coin is better than like, oh, I've only heard that track. This is the kind of thing where like, have you heard about people getting copyright strikes because they use a Splice sample that somebody else used first, which is kind of hilarious and kind of
problem in the last couple of years.
terrible, right? But it's just like, God, it would be terrible to have your track taken down because let's go. It's not worth it, you know? Sorry, I have to read Rags' message out loud. It's always too good. Reminds me of rappers saying, you already know who it is. Nah, this is your second single from the start of your career. Therefore, I do not, in fact, know who it is, and definitely not what it is. And thank you, Rags, for the donation. We love you. We love you. And next era, if you're not even a year into producing, I mean, this is insanely impressive. That is like, it took me, and you know, I'm old, and the excuse is that we didn't have tools, we didn't have YouTube, but I swear it took me like 5 or 6 years to get that good, at least, maybe longer. So
to even have bass sort of sounds fit and not be completely, it still took me a few years as well. So yeah, maybe I'm just slow.
No. They didn't have all the tools and tricks and tips and libraries, right?
Also, it's funny we're talking about bringing in nostalgia because the next track by Skyja Fangari is, or Skija, yeah, I assume it's Skyja Fangari, is called Nostalgic. 200 hours of serum tutorials and long nights. It's been a long year. Well, I commend you on your commitment because that's some work ethic.
Yeah, you're either a dedicated adult or you're 14, but either way, awesome. I wish I had 200 hours to do that. Amazing.
So, is there any specific feedback? Sound design and overall opinion. This is Nostalgic by Skyja Fangari. And I've lost my mouse again. I think morning trance is definitely a good way to describe this sound. It's that 4 or 5 a.m. when everyone sort of needs the breather because they literally are hungover and have no energy left. Kind of come down kind of vibe.
Yeah. And I think I agree with the chat on this one. And especially like Dan has some good sort of influence, like Dido style. And next arrow says Kenya Grace, but I think just generally like a breathier, high, angelic female voice, you know.
Are you
I can't sing right now, so
volunteering,
yes, I do. I can't go high right now, but you know, high, breathy, floating. Yeah, you're better than me right now. I am, yeah. I've had a cold for like 8 months, but anyways, that would be really nice because it would go with that. It's a really nice floaty vibe. So I don't want to give you a lot of the advice I give to other people to like change up this, do that, because I do understand that the aim of this music is it's trance, right? It's in the name. It's about getting into this deep feeling. But I think that floating vocal, and you know, you could make it interesting by having just something simple, right? A repetitive vocal hook, nothing too crazy to draw you out of the trance, but to make it interesting by having different effects as it plays through. So you could have like a little like lick and then have a little delay on it, and then maybe the next time a little something, and just that way you have the repetition and you have the dream state and you're not violating that, because that's really important. I mean, that's, to me, I feel that is the aim of your track, right? Is to have that euphoric state. So you don't want to interrupt it with too much going on, but there is room for that, for sure.
Rags
What would
in
you
the
do,
comments
Andy?
saying, it sounds like tech commercial or broadcast intermission music. And yes, I was wondering how to address that, because I have similar feelings. And I think it's the piano being so dominant that does that for me. Because it's a very basic piano sound. There's not a huge amount of textural variety in the piano itself. It's also played very dry. But you have this brass in the background, this brass synth that comes out occasionally. And I think you should lean more on that if you're going to have your lead melody be this sort of da, 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 da.
Yeah, the brass is cool.
You know, the brass is a really nice sound, and it would emphasize this sort of the spaciness that you've got going for it, the sci-fi sort of vibe, more than the commercial piano. This is very, you know, the piano's almost too safe.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, and that's such a really, you have such great nuance, Natty. I'm sort of like a broad strokes finger paint, and you're like a detailed architect. You are an architect, actually.
Legally not an architect.
Legally not an architect, but yeah, no, and that's such a good point. And of course, this can be an economic thing, but there's so many really wonderful unorthodox sampled pianos out today. Like I was just sort of looking over my contact library and like the other stuff that is on the market right now, and you've got such interesting like pianos that are completely designed for horror music, with sort of like played in certain rooms, and just stuff baked into the actual sound generation that you just can't really substitute for, right? So there's like a more interesting piano. That's a great point. There's one that I really love called Noir. Sounds very
I've heard of
pretentious,
that.
but it's a very like wet, like, I don't know, spacey piano that I use it all the time. So, I mean, I would definitely recommend that. And having that dry piano is sort of like the default DAW piano kind of symptom, right? So I don't want to say like go out and spend a ton of money on contact libraries, because that's just really classist or whatever. But I think that if you look around, you can find more options than that. I think you're totally right, Nani.
I have a recommendation to explore as well on the freebies front. I don't have it installed on my computer, but I have it on my iPad. There is a VST version. It's by Venus Theory. It's called Decent Sampler. They have a load of free libraries that they make available on their downloader thing for it, and including interesting piano sounds. There are a fair number in there. I would have a look at that first if you want a good, high-quality freebie, because Venus Theory is a nerd, in the sense that he will go to the absolute ends of the earth to do something completely crazy with his recording and everything, just to get it a specific way. So even though there's freebies, he's still going all out on getting these samples together to make them an interesting sound font, you know?
Right.
And
Yeah.
and it is it's a very nice plugin, fairly lightweight, and even available, I believe, in Clap.
Oh, classy, classy. That is a nice plugin format.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't used to care. I didn't used to feel differently until I, worked on this project that we shall not name for years and years, where I had to lead this team to build our own sound engine. And then I learned about like how terrible VST3 is from my DSP engineer, and how it was basically just sort of a Steinberg monopoly grab of something that was never done very well and was really hard and expensive for developers. And so basically just none of them like it.
It's
And
the
I was
Adobe
bummed.
of plugin formats.
Yeah, yeah. So Clap is cool, but I haven't seen a lot of stuff using it yet. Weren't you going to talk about some new plugin you were using? I'm
Oh
curious.
well, it ended up breaking a bit earlier, so it's obviously not quite ready for prime time.
Oh, is it
Yeah,
like a beta of a plugin?
No, it's weird because I think maybe it's just some settings I need to have a look at or something. But so I use on Windows. I'll see if I can get it to show up on the screen. So a plugin called Voice Meter to run all my audio through, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things I had to do is when I got this set up is I actually had to pay for a couple of the drivers to get in, so I had enough routing options. They call them cable A and B, and then they have one that's also C and D. But they have another free one on their site called Hi-Fi Cable that comes with a custom ASIO driver. And I was hoping it would just work the same way the other ones do. And then I could say, oh, it's just so easy. But no, it immediately caused stuttering on the audio. And I'm not sure. I think maybe it's got its own ASIO control panel I need to go into to get it to play nice with Voice Meter or whatever. And OBS. Because, but either way, it's like donationware. And that's the thing, there's a lot of software out there. WinRAR is a really old example of this, where it's donationware, where they obviously would like you to pay for it, but you can kind of just try it as long as you want. And maybe sometimes it'll ask you, oh, do you want to donate or whatever when you open it? Like Reaper does that. Do you want to pay for this? But obviously a lot of us are in different financial situations. I mean, I know I've been pretty broke this year. It's nice that companies can provide a piece of software and you can pay when you're ready to pay. I think that's the thing. It is a good idea to pay for stuff. It helps support development so it continues to exist. Like we were just talking about Volta not making enough money, right? Then that's likely why they've had to pivot. But supporting new operating systems and hardware costs money. It's a really expensive development time.
Yeah. Yeah, it really
But
does.
you shouldn't also putting pressure on people to immediately have the big bucks up front isn't helpful necessarily either, especially in creative spaces where sometimes you just don't know how it's going to play within your setup.
For sure. I always appreciate that you try to find the free plugins. Those are always like they tend to be gold too, but it's just hard to even know where to look, especially when you're just starting. Are there any creative free plugins you've been using, like for sound design or instruments? You said the Venus Theory piano or the sampler one. Anything
decent
else?
sampler. It's got lots of other kits in there as well. Let's see if I can get. I can't remember what's even in there because I just download all the free ones on my iPad. This is the fun thing. You can do everything, music stuff. You don't have to be on a PC or a Mac. You can do it on like your phone or your tablet if you have one of those. I've got this hardware. I've got some stuff on my desk here, like this Novation thingy, and lots of random stuff. But let's see what they got in here right now. They have a mixture. Obviously, there's some paid stuff in here too. Like I see one which is they've hacked a speak and spell. I was talking earlier about circuit bending, and this is where you can take a device that isn't meant to meant to be an instrument, and you get down with a soldering iron and a few other things, and you hook it up to a few other things, and you want something that's like, crazy. So they've sampled the speak and spell for some reason. There's one on here called, I've not seen this one before, it's called Lo-Fi Skypad, and it's under the sound of objects. And it's derived from organ and guitar pedals run through Pole Stretch. Pole Stretch is a really cool freebie as well, actually. But it's very, very hardware intensive. You can't really use Pole Stretch live. Because it takes, especially if you're making it really, really, really long. Like, you stretch a a 5-second bit of audio into 30 minutes. It takes a bit of time to compute that. You can't use it as a live instrument.
I love Paul Stretch. That's my free plugin recommendation. And the funny thing is, this is an ancient plugin, okay? But there was like a period of time where it just expired. And speaking of money and development times, nobody was able to take it forward. So there was like a couple of years where you just couldn't use it unless you had like a really old PC or Mac. And then some amazing person did an upgrade for modern times, and now you can use it again. So if you have never used Paul Stretch and you want to make ambient drones or yoga music or anything really easily, everything sounds angelic when you slow it down by like 300 times. You can go on YouTube and look up like, what is it, like 600% slow or 300% slow versions of songs where people have literally just done that. And it sounds like a choir of angels. Yeah, Hoops. We got Rags up next.
We do indeed. Work in progress,
Nice.
not mixed, but ultimately be an intentionally dirty mix.
SPD,
Wondering particularly
stand-up
about
producer.
your take on the vibes and switch up in style blending. This was something different for me. And I'm very curious to see what different means in the Rags context. Whoop. This is just called Filthy. So...
Really got it, they just wanna sound exciting. Unlikely, I'm running from the jump, ain't nothing like me. I might be switching up the stage, I don't inspire me. Unsightly, hanging out the window with the high beams. With the high beams, try not to take it lightly. Respectfully, politely, I swear you nothing like me. With the high beams, try not to take it lightly. Respectfully, politely, I swear you nothing like me. Everybody seem to have their own motive on commotion. I've been moving off of action while they moving off emotions. Off that PC culture, lost in sauce, I got the potion. I am not with your shot colors and I'm rock bottom. We won't smoke with your top shot. I hold a top dog, I let it go. You a small problem, point them out, we all got them, bruh. That's a plot twist. These are not novels, must be slow. Off your narcotics, that's your godfather before we go.
Yeah, give me like 20 minutes. I'm in a session right now.
Bro, you sent me back like, bro, is you alright? I said, what's the feeling? Better get your mind right. I just been raising the stakes, yeah. I just put dude in his place. I just brought heat to his face, yeah. I just put suits on the case. So care for the toe tag, cause his vocab wasn't keeping up with the rhythm. I revoked that. 50 on my mic, never mind what he wrote back. Never ever get on my level and never quote that. I mean, you ain't tight, but I die, short of optics, synopsis. I'm hanging out the window straight mobbing. Cycles of the drink, switching sides like imposters. Claiming that they real, but they fold under gossip. I'm nonsense. I've been moving off of action while they moving off emotions. Off the PC culture, lost the sauce, I got the potion. I am not with your shot colors and I'm rock bottom. We won't smoke. Really got it, they just wanna sound exciting. Unlikely, I'm running from the jump, ain't nothing like me. I might be switching up the stage, I don't inspire me. Unsightly, hanging out the window with the high beams. With the high beams, try not to take it lightly. Respectfully, politely, I swear you nothing like me. With the high beams, try not to take it lightly. Respectfully, politely, I swear you nothing like me.
I have an important question for you, Nathaniel. Did you know who this is? Did you know what this is?
Do I know what this is?
Do you know who this all is? Because, I mean, he didn't explicitly tell you that you knew who this was. So, did you know who this was?
I'm not sure. I just realized you're referencing that joke.
You know,
Yeah, it's,
Rags, you're so sick, and I've said this like every time I've heard your stuff. I just get the feeling from listening to you that you don't like your own voice. Like, which is a shame because I really like it. I think it's dope. I think your raps are really tight. I think your tone is good, but you're always like burying a lot of stuff when like I like the effects, but I also want to hear like an up close, clear center front vocal in the front of it, and then hear like the weird stuff on the side, because it always feels like at some point you bury it. And from a person who hated the sound of their own voice and always did that as a producer, I recognize it. So I think maybe sometimes, and you can feel free to do this anytime because we're friends, like send me something with it like dry, and then be like, do I need, like, is this really bad? And then I can check you and be like, dude, it's fine, or whatever, because that's like, it distracts me actually from how good your flow is and how interesting your choices are. I'm just like, he really doesn't like his own voice. Natty, am I like, this is what?
You're right. He does always bury himself. But I'm also thinking about, well, maybe there's a lesson as well to be taught. Thing to take forward from that isn't just send your folks to get reinsurance that your voice is fine. It usually is. But maybe it would be worth going and actually see if you can find somewhere that does lessons for like impressions and stuff. If you don't quite like your timbre of your voice as it is now, then you have to learn how to manipulate it, right? And but that's doing that in a musical context is really difficult because you're trying so hard to sort of be clever and lyrical and keep on the beat and everything else. There's a lot going on to process, right? So it may be worth looking at other environments where you can pretend to be other people a little bit and see how you can play with your own voice. Like improv, for example, might be a good environment to test that sort of stuff out in. Like just get out of your comfort zone in a way that means that you can go back and say, hang on, I know I can pull that off with my voice. I can hit those notes. I can speak with that accent. I can do these things that, because your voice isn't one thing. And if you moved around a lot, you also might find it just naturally changing without you realizing, because the voice is not static in any particular way. Even for someone like myself, my accent isn't necessarily completely, distinct. But it is there are obvious influences from just even living here for a decade. It seeps in,
And that's true. Like another thing that I learned from theater and just training in general is like, it might be also worth one of the things that really helped me in general was speech level singing, which is this technique from the guy who coached Michael Jackson and Aretha Franklin. And the reason I liked it is because it's style agnostic. It has nothing to do with like jazz singing or opera singing. That was what kept me away from any sort of singing or breathing lessons. I didn't want to be like coaxed into a style. And this is more about like getting as comfortable singing as you are talking or making any other sounds. And I noticed that when I trained with that, when I naturally just learned how to breathe more deeply, it changed my voice. Now, I'm not sure if I like what it did, because I feel like I got less feminine because I breathe deeper, so my voice is deeper and my tone is fuller. And just to say that, like, you can meaningfully, you don't even have to play a character, but you can train yourself to breathe from different places and to focus on different places, and it does change your tone. So it's almost like, you are a human, you are the best synthesizer there is, and you can sound design yourself. It just takes a little bit. It's a little bit like a combination of physical exercise and mental philosophy, where you have to just be like honest with yourself, like, what don't I like? And in my case, it's just like, okay, I would like to be more breathy and also more stable. So like when I train, I practice on ways that I can breathe that are a little bit like more like this, without actually breathing badly. But that just takes training. It's like going to the gym, and training will get you to the point where it's subconscious. And then, like Natty said, you're not trying to focus on too many things. It actually just comes out that way. So I would definitely say that if you're still at this point, after how many years you've been producing, are not comfortable with your voice, it is worth trying like weird, like speech level singing is pretty funny. It'll have you in the room being like, and you just like feel like a fool, right? But
it's
the point is
thing possible.
Yeah, but it really like starts to loosen up and sort of rewire those neurons, because here's the thing: most of the time people, and this goes for singing or rapping, but it's like if you talked the way that most people do when they try to sing, it'd be like, hello, how are you? I talk like this. And like nobody talks like that, but they sing and they're just like, I need. So that's the point of this kind of style, is like you should be as comfortable and as natural singing as when you're talking. And some people actually learn to talk badly where they're breathing from a really difficult place, and so they get out of breath. And it's just worth thinking about it as like both another muscle that you can exercise and another sound design tool that you can sharpen, because the fact that you can rap and sing is a powerful natural talent. And it's worth playing around. Subconsciously, I'm trying not to sound like a little kid. Yeah, so then I kind of double down on like doing some deep breathing and learning how to like naturally make your voice just come out of like the lowest place possible. So like now I'm at this point where like if I want, I can talk out of
You
there.
can sound like
which is
Elizabeth
pretty low.
Holmes.
Yeah. If I have a cure for you, you should all buy my cure of a Forbes under 40. Look at me. But again, like I can, but the voice that I want to sing with now is truly the voice when I'm not concentrating. So in order for that to be the case, I have to train myself to be that way when I'm not concentrating, right? So it's working out and it's working what you got. Pretty good. Next, we have defective with 3 Fs. Your spelling is defective. Sorry. Boomer moment. Wah, wah, wah. Had to do that. You left it there. I had to pick it up. Is there any specific feedback required?
Mainly mixed down feedback, apparently. So this is Lit Stargaze Reverted WAV 7. Fantastic title.
Again another time, and I can feel something with fighting close to deep inside me. Take me there. If only I could go. If only I could close my eyes and float along with one last prayer, just one last hope. I still hear your voice so loudly, and I echo your words to fill the empty space all around me. All the stuff between us, don't stop me now. Please don't let me down. So speed it up now. Keep on going every single moment. Keeps you going even if you're broken. Keep your heart, my faith, keep your focus now. Yeah. I can't wait until the day I don't feel this anymore. On the floor, here's some more. Dreamt of other lives where I made it through the night, alright. And all that there was you and I choose our favorite love. So take me back. If only I could go. If only I could close my eyes. With one last prayer, just one last hope. I still hear your voice so loudly, and I echo your words to fill the empty space all around me. All the stuff between us, don't stop me now. Please don't let me down. So speed it up now. Keep on going every single moment. Keeps you growing even if you're broken. Keep your heart, my faith, keep your focus now. I still hear your voice so loudly, and I echo your words to fill the empty space all around me. Come surround me. You said carry your moments proudly, so I'll echo your words, 'cause it was you who came and found me. Come surround me.
Okay. That just caught me off guard because I was literally just preparing some feedback that I was going to give you about predictable chords. And then you went and changed the chords right at the last second, and I was like, you should have done that at the beginning. because there was something that was hitting me where I was like, this is cute. And it's also got that, as I said earlier, happy birthday vibe. Everything is so in key and churchy and harmonious. And it's got that like Saturday dubstep worship kind of vibe. That is because the chords were the exact most predictable chords to go with the vocal until the end. When we were just about to talk, and I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I wanted that the whole time. I was begging for that. So what I would suggest for the rest of the track is if you don't want to bring that in earlier, try some harmonic theory. And if you don't play piano, because look, I've been playing piano my whole life and I'm terrible at music theory because I just was too stubborn to study the theories and the ins and outs of it. But you can have the same melody and there are much more options than the first chord that seems to be the right one, right? So this, you can get a lot of tools. There's plugins. There's something called Scalar that has been an interesting like MIDI generator, and God knows there's many tools that will automatically help you come up with different options. But I would say, like, for example, if she's singing an F and you want to do an F major, that is maybe the least interesting choice. Maybe a D minor or an A minor or any key that has that note in it will work. So sometimes if I feel myself going that way, because we all do that, right? We all do predictable stuff because it's the easiest thing that happens. I force myself for a little while to try alternate chord combinations and just see if like something is more interesting, because that's, for me, that's what I'm missing with this track. It's like, it's just too like la 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 children's commercial, like, and I think that's what it is. But the ending just got me like, no, it's possible, right? So what did you think? Sorry, I just went
No,
off
I
a
agree,
little
and
bit.
I think with the question as well being mixed downs, that this is definitely the point where you start going and actually referencing other tracks a bit more. Pull them into your DAW and actually compare how they do things in terms of density and mix the frequency balancing and stuff. Like I would personally go and dip into like J-pop for this. Especially if you want to start spicing up the chord progression and stuff. There's a lot of interesting harmonic work going on in J-pop that doesn't really exist in Western pop. There's a band I'm quite fond of called Wednesday Campanella, and there's a couple of songs that I became quite obsessed with last year from them. But it's because they're very good at upending the expectations. Like I think part of that is through their group dynamic. It's a video director, film TV kind of guy, a producer, and then a poet. And they've now on to their second poet in their lineup. So the other lady, she went off and did some other project for whatever reason. But it ends up meaning that they have to all come to a consensus coming from completely different backgrounds about what they want their music to be. And it shows. Like, it's very interesting. Like, they choose interesting subjects for their tracks. They choose interesting composition overall arrangements often tend to bounce around a fair bit because obviously these three individuals, they're all coming from very different influences and backgrounds, and the type of music they're likely interested in is very different as well, but they all have to agree. So there is a point of compromise and common ground there. And but yeah, the point is that there's also these other groups out there doing interesting stuff that you can go and reference and see, well, okay, yeah, they're trying something crazy, but they're doing it in a sensible way.
And I think that that's a really powerful reason. Like sometimes if you listen to like these huge hits, a lot of the time there are teams of like 8-10 people working on it, kind of for this reason, right? Because it's really interesting to look at things through different perspectives, but you don't need 8 or 10 people. You just need the ability to put different lenses on yourself, right? So I would also suggest like palette cleansers, like go listen to totally different styles of music for a little while if you're stuck. Like go listen to something that is just not anything like what you're making, so that the next thing you do isn't just the first thing that you think of.
But keep going. Definitely keep going. You'll probably get to WAV 9 or something, but that's okay.
Oh, funny story because you guys will appreciate this. So, some of you might have noticed, I am very badly crocheting here. I'm learning how to do it, and this is a completely different skill from music production. And it's been sending me into anxiety, right? Because you have to count your stitches, and you can't zone out too much because if you put too many stitches or not enough, it gets into a funny shape. So I was sitting here being like, how am I supposed to keep track of like row 3 and like number 6 of the pattern? And I was just like 3, 6, 3, 7, and then finally I was like, wait, what do I know how to count? Mix versions. So now I sit here going 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, 3.4, 3.5, 3.5 final if I have to put an extra stitch in. And I am doing so much better at it. Sorry, I had to say that here because
producing broke your brain when it comes to maths.
What I'm saying is like there's a really powerful, there is actually a point I can extract out of this because I'm also very good at bullshitting and turning it into reality sometimes, which is like just there's value both to like exposing yourself to what is unfamiliar and that discomfort it creates and the new pathways, and on the other side, translating something you don't understand to something that is familiar to you. So again, like if you're producing a new genre like Next Arrow was, like just not getting too stuck and trying to make something new that is completely like something else you don't know, but like what do I do that's already dope? Like what do I do that's super cool? And not only is that a good way to learn, but that puts your own flavor into what you're doing next. You see, I told you I would find a point to this story.
You got there in the end. And I'm glad that you're succeeding with your crochet.
Succeeding is a strong word, but yeah, I'm counting better. Yeah. What is next? Oh, Chico is next.
Yeah, Chico's next. Hopefully YouTube is... YouTube's been really weird lately with when I have an ad blocker on, so hopefully it loads. This song is called Morning by... And they're all... alias is Simon with a 0. Simziren.
Simziren.
Your 7th theme. So, from what I gather, this is their 7th tune ever. Okay, that's what they meant by...
But they said theme, so is this supposed to be like
Theme.
for a video game or like that's... I would like to
some context
understand.
would be helpful, I think.
Because if it's for a game or for a particular type of thing, it's totally different than if it's like for a central focused dance floor. Like the purpose is important. Chico says no. Okay, so please tell us more in the chat.
Please enlighten us.
I think like what I translate song vad. That actually makes it less clear. I don't know what I don't know what that means. I speak Spanish.
Oh, so 7th song ever. Yeah. So I was right.
Oh,
My translation is correct. Yeah.
I entiendo. Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
Aisha speaks Spanish. You can give feedback in Spanish. If you're not too
Entiendo español más o menos. Es posible. If you want to speak a little bit, I can. Yeah. But anyways, your 7th song ever? Awesome. I mean, at this point, I don't think we should give you too much feedback because just explore, stretch your legs, like play around more. I think just try more ambient sounds. And I'm sorry, I would speak Spanish back to you, but my Spanish is like, I would like a coffee. Would you like a glass of wine? Thank you. So it's not really good for feedback.
The priorities
but I do,
in life, coffee and wine. Perfect.
I do understand more than I speak. So if you want to speak to me, I will understand. But just play with the atmosphere, right? Because it's you have a really good cinematic space, like with the melodies you're doing. But now I would like to hear textures, like. If you have a field recorder, I actually have one right here. You don't have to get one this big. You can get a tiny little one. I mean, you can use your phone, but your phone is not really algorithmed right for ambient recording, right? But take one, go out, record your street, record the park, record all of that, and try like putting some of that in the background. This is actually, it belongs to my employer. I was doing some work at home, so it's a little bit fancier than the one that I own for myself. But it is a Tascam Portacapture X6. It's a 32-bit floating point. Fancy. It was actually Frost insisted on this sort of high quality because we do a lot of Foley and stuff. So our noise floor and all that is really important. But it doesn't matter. A cheap one will do just as well. Like the other day, I just recorded my pond and my ducks for about 15 minutes. And then I put it over a Paul Stretch drone, funny enough. And it's a listenable track. That's it. 15 minutes of nature changing behind a 300% slowed down sound of something else is apparently sellable yoga music. It's amazing. So please, like your melodies are beautiful. You know, la canción es muy bonita. Just more texture, right? What would you say, Natty?
So I'm going to follow up with an agreement and a suggestion of another place to explore it is also about texture. So you're trying to make an orchestral piece here, really. That's what it is. It's got your piano, you got your strings, you've got your bass in the back there, but I feel like the next step with that is to understand why certain string instruments are used. It sounds like right now you're just using sort of a stock violin sound. So when you said you're using BandLab, I believe they have that sort of stuff in there still. And it's a very when you push a violin way up the register, it often doesn't sound quite so well, like decent by itself. Because they can only go higher up just out of, because why not? Because a string you can kind of play all the way along the fretboard, right? But it's not where the sweet spot in a violin is. You actually probably want to move to a viola, as an example.
Interesting. Yeah, because a lot of the nice libraries that I have, they only map out the natural range of the instrument. So they just kind of like prevent you from doing things that it wouldn't do. But I wonder, I guess the BandLab doesn't seem to do that, or maybe like you're just saying it's not the nicest.
Sort of just it's like it might not be that violin sample bank or whatever just doesn't quite sing so well at those higher frequencies. And that can even go down to how they've recorded it in the first place. Like every microphone, and this is an analog instrument, they won't have been able to put a direct pickup into it without a lot of fast. They all have specific frequency responses and biases. And you don't know what any of those are. When you're getting a sample library, you get what you get, and you have no idea what their intentions were when they made it, what compromise they had to make to either for cost or time when they're making it. And so you kind of have to distance yourself a little bit and go, okay, well, if this is a real instrument in a real space, what would it be doing? And often in an orchestral piece, as where you got this sort of trying to balance out with your bass and going all the way up the range, the violin would not be occupying the top of the range. It would be another instrument. That might even be a chance of looking at, say, woodwind, for example. That it could be, and this is, there are all these wonderful sounds, and you can get a lot of free banks for it. But it's about experimenting. Say, okay, well, why does this sound a little bit like it's when you sing? Like it sounds like if you go out of your range, it sounds like you're stretching yourself too far. There's a sort of a tension to it. And
This actually
instruments are the same.
reminds me of something our great admin, Admiral Bumblebee, said once. I actually had him come into one of my university classes to do like a advanced sound design workshop. And he surprised everybody because, it was like, what's the trick for this? Da, 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 da. And he was like, check your voicing. And it's the same thing. He's like, sometimes your chord doesn't sound good because you're not picking the right voicing. You're not choosing the best intervals that harmonically lock together. So sometimes you just change your composition. You change the voicing and you fix the sound design problem. So I think what you're saying kind of comes down to that. And then that also makes me think about like medieval symphony composers back in the day, right? The OG sound designers, where you had an orchestra, you knew the range of the instruments, and not just the range, but where they sit around the room. So when you were making your symphony, you had to basically keep all of that in mind, and that was your medieval sound design, right? You're just like, all right, I need some drama, so the timpanis are going to come in from the left side, and then I really want people to be scared, so but yes. And Dan also has a very valid comment. Sub bass, put some sub bass. Very bass is very beautiful. I'm sorry, I I was talking too fast for a non-native speaker. I tell you what, I have to make my Spanish better again. I used to live, I lived in Valencia por 3 años, and I used to speak it, and then now I live in Denmark, where people speak Danish, and it makes my brain explode. So I don't. But I have a really cool friend from Uruguay. He is like a charango and a flute player, and he's coming to Europe on tour, and he only speaks Spanish. So he just left me this voice message that I realized I almost completely didn't understand. So I have a reason. So please, both of you, come back to the stream, give me a reason, an excuse para hablar español. Me gustaría mucho. Me gustaría mucho. Thank you so much, and keep going. Don't worry too much about any feedback. Just make more texture, make more space, play with the space between the notes, and do some bass. Claro? Muy bien. All right, what's
Fantastic.
next?
So next up we have Bittersweet Girl, aka Diamonds O Blue, in the chat there. This track, it says it's 5 years old. You'll have to, I know SoundCloud lets you re-upload stuff, so you'll have to let us know if this is a revision or is the original track. And if it is older, where are you now in terms of your music and your sound design choices? Have you switched genre? Like, where are you sitting? Because I don't believe we've heard any of your work before, so it'd be nice to sort of see what you're interested in. And it's anything that we can give. Heart in the Word Love, Return of the Beat Battle Season 2. I don't know what that means. Nah.
Oh, this is nice and
Okay.
chill. This
It
vibes.
was, and apparently it was a remix of a beat battle where they had one day to do it, and this is a few years ago.
Oh,
So that's
really
an interesting
nice.
context because it came out really well.
Yeah. No, it sounds like you took your time with it. It does not sound like a hasty decision, and I think you made a lot of really interesting choices that usually when you're in a crunch you don't make. So well done. And it says right now you're in a band playing guitar. Man, I would put some guitar on this like fully. I would put some really like sexy little. And
Oh
one of
yeah,
my
yo, that could be really good.
one of my favorite things to do with guitar or guitar-like instruments, because I have a clavichord, and I know already that most of you have probably never seen one, and you kind of think that you know what it is, but it's wild. It's like a piano and guitar. So anything with these kind of strings, I really love this trick of playing the upper harmonics, like the over the top of the bridge that aren't really notes, and then using them as percussion and like panning them. And you got to EQ them a bit because sometimes they can have a bit of sharp highness, but when they just kind of have that muted like you can do that in the background and you can get really cool textures. I'm going to read Rags' comment because he always has good stuff to say. Lo-fi vibes are nice. I felt like the drums are slightly more aggro. The bass was a bit too full. The vocal sample was tough. Intro might have been a tad too long. Yeah, I also feel that way. And I think, like I was going to say, it's a little bit jammy. And like now you could sort of shape it a bit more intentionally. Like now you could really take your favorite parts and kind of arrange them tighter. It said, I felt like I waited so long for the drop. It didn't feel as impactful because my anticipation started to decline. The second chord in your first progression after the drop didn't sound bad, but sounded neutral. Ending feels like a bridge. Otherwise, so very fire. Adding on it would be optional. You could otherwise strengthen what you have. Yeah, so same kind of thing. Just like now you've got a lot of gold in there, right? You have a lot of really fun moments. And like I like the moments where it sounds like you were kind of just like messing around live because there's a lot of like sort of what I'd call like asymmetrical, glitchy editing where it sounds interesting. It doesn't sound like you just took a plugin and slapped like a barred effect on it or something. So find the biggest gold moment and then like finesse those and condense them down. What's up, Habor Erdogan from Turkey? Always wanted to go. Really like on the near the top of my list. Love the idea. Do you have more comments on this one, Eddie?
No, I think that you managed to sum it up pretty effectively, and your band should allow you to remix some of your stuff, or whatever that sounds like. I think that's the if you want to somehow bring it back to being, hey, what do I do in my own stuff? Because being a part of a band is really difficult sometimes in terms of always doing what you want because you got to make everyone else happy too. But if they ever need any official remixes, like like. You have at least my vote of approval. Go do some remixes for your band. I think that could be really fun.
Yeah, totally. And then like take that guitar because like I say, if you can play an instrument, like you don't have to. You can do a lot of cool stuff on the computer. But if you can, it's like free variation on stuff that takes people who don't play instruments hours. So use it.
The next entry is by Young Bum.
All right.
We also, the last entry in the queue was, they're on as Forever Dorkazoid, aka Stra, but they get sent a Spotify link, and I'm not sure how well that'll work within my Firefox or not. Things get really weird. Spotify's not a great platform for sharing this type of stuff, especially since I no longer...
Spotify's not a great platform. Just stop there. Spotify is not a great platform. Do not support them.
Yeah, I haven't paid for Spotify in like 2 years.
Oh, God. Good.
So,
Don't.
Yeah. I managed to port all my listening library elsewhere. That was fine. Because that's the way you don't have to be locked into Spotify. But yes, I'm not sure how that'll play. But we got Laser by Young Bum. And there's no specific feedback. So I guess it's whatever we feel like. And it's another rap track.
Whoa, 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 hey. Whoa, 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 ay. Whoa, 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 yeah. Whoa, 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 yeah. Not a god with a laser. Yeah. I'm a goer, I'm a chaser. Yeah, yeah. I'm a fucking overtaker. Whoa, whoa. Took a shot with a chaser. Whoa, whoa. Fuck it, I don't even blame her. Yeah, yeah. Whoa, whoa. I'm a going player. Whoa. What's the thought? You a stranger. Yeah. Face order at a man. higher. Whoa. Anything to get higher. Whoa, whoa. I've been walking on a wire. Yeah. You a piece of shit liar. Whoa. There's more to the story. Yeah. But if you tell me it's gonna bore you. Whoa, whoa. Baby, you ain't boring. No. I'm just doing what's recorded. Yeah. Whoa, 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 ayy. Whoa, 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 ayy. Whoa, 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 yeah. Whoa, 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 yeah. Got a gun with a laser, yeah. I'm a goer, I'm a chaser, yeah, yeah. I'm a fucking overtaker, whoa, whoa. Took a shot with a chaser, whoa, whoa. Fuck it, I don't even blame her, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm a going player, wow. What's a dog to a stranger, yeah. Face full of red banger, yeah. Got a gun with a laser, yeah. I'm a goer, I'm a chaser, yeah, yeah. I'm a fucking overtaker, whoa, whoa. Took a shot with a chaser, whoa, whoa. Fuck it, I don't even blame her, yeah, yeah, whoa. I'm a going player, wow. What's a dog to a stranger, yeah. Face full of red banger.
No, stop it.
Oh my god. Okay. Like I don't know who that rapper was, but I picture it as being one of those like 14-year-old TikTok guys with like full body tattoos and like tattoos on his tongue and a grill. And I'm so sorry. I got so distracted from any other feedback I could give that track because I just hated that rap so much. And this is just a personal comment. I fully admit that I am one human being. But like, you know how I was sort of roasting the Let's Go? It was like, this is the other guy in the sample pack. Whoa, yeah,
No,
whoa,
the minute that
yeah.
bit came in, I had exactly the same thought that this is just going back to that other conversation.
And he just sounds like a really shitty Gen Z kid. That's just like, it's like, bro, you live in fucking Missouri. Like, just go to school. Stop complaining about life in the hood. Like, you live in the suburbs. Like, it just, I'm sorry. Maybe somebody else loves this and I'm a boomer and that's totally a fine take as well. But I also was just like waiting for it to drop so I could be distracted by something else. But it was just like musical blue balls. I was just like, it's not even like, it's not going anywhere. This guy is just like jerking off all over the mic. And I just want him to go to bed because he needs to go to school in the morning. And like, I'm
This
so
is the
sorry.
hardest roast you've done all night.
I'm so sorry. I'm a really nice person, I swear. But this is just, Daddy, please say something else. I should just not talk anymore on this one.
All right. So I'm gonna agree with Rags in that it catches attention, but it never drops because it's just the same hook repeated over. It is back to what I referred to earlier in the stream as Baby Shark syndrome, where it doesn't technically build up to anything. And I also just found the sound design really overly harsh to the point where I would be very concerned about how it would sound on a phone. And when you're talking about the stuff that appeals to the kids, and in many respects, this is kind of in that right hyperpop sort of aesthetic, right? And that is a very youth-friendly and biased demographic in terms of who actually listens to that stuff. They're not going to be listening to this on anything resembling decent. They'll be listening to it on their phones because apparently nobody plugs in anything anymore on a bus. It's just straight with a phone. Or they'll be listening on AirPods or something to that effect, which again, like you're not going to get the sub reproduction that you need in order to remotely balance this high end.
I muted myself because I was so afraid I was going to say something bad. No, and I'm looking at Rags in the chat. Like, it's not the style that bugs me because you're right. Like, if there's clever writing, you don't mind that this is a kid that needs to go to bed. You're like, no, please stay up later. Tell me more. But like this one, I'm just like, shut up. You're spoiled. Go to bed.
Yeah, even though the thing like that the riff is that, you know, for some reason shooting people with a laser because they're not paying attention or something was the sort of the vibe, the message I got from the track. But it's like, okay, well, why are they not paying attention to you? What is it or what is it that makes you worth paying attention to? There's a narrative here that could be explored. I think with this track, it's a very short track, only sub 2 minutes. But if you are going to sit in that territory again, and we're going to go back to referencing. Pink Pantheress, I think, is the best example of someone who can get a lot out in a really short period of time. Now, her songs that I've been working on a little video about songs from last year that caught my attention. And she generally annoys me in the sense that I get into the groove and then it's over, and then I'm like, well, I'm sad. But when it comes to this sort of really social media friendly short rap kind of track, she is the queen of getting that stuff on tape and making it matter, you know? That there is always an emotional core to her tracks that is very, very crystal clear. And I think if you're going to look for a reference, she's the one to go look at and say, okay, well, how many times does she actually repeat her hook? Because she doesn't do that often, right? In her short tracks, she expects people to just replay the song. That's how she writes.
Right.
And
yeah.
I think that's it's a simultaneous, because you're constraining yourself by being so short, but also because it's understanding the format, right?
Yeah. Very good. I knew you'd have better advice than me. Thank goodness. All right.
So it's been however long, and I would like to apologize for the random disconnect earlier. My broadband provider said, oh, we're upgrading your thing a couple of days ago, and I think they've just made it more unstable, which is helpful.
Amazing. I love it when that happens.
Some great improvements, Vodafone. It's at least it's held up mostly for that stream, so there's only that one bit where we've got now a random half an hour section, I think it is. Yeah. A separate bit. But we got do you want to try one more, or because there's someone
let's
the chat.
Sorry, I need another song to clean my ears. I'm so sorry. I need
let's see if we can,
something.
Dr. Hugh, Dr. Crisis there, I will see if I can get you the link, because I need to fix the moderation thing for other people to post links, because that's really not... I don't know what happened to the bot.
Yeah. No, and let me just try and be because I just feel terrible. This is probably this person just hates me, and I really think Rags hit on the truth of it. Is there's nothing wrong with the style and the intention and the vibe and everything. It's just making sure that you have something really meaningful to say. And now I'm going to be a double boomer and just be read some good books. Read some good books, or study some really good wordsmiths like Kendrick Lamar or something, because even if you're a totally different style, if you can make really sick metaphors and messages and do clever stuff, that's where this style is going to win, I think, more than just certain people over, right? That's where it's even if maybe it's not my style, I can be ooh, that is clever, that is tricky, that is fun.
You can transcend your style. You can very easily transcend your style.
Exactly, and I definitely pleased the album. It's really was just the combination of just cliche kind of empty lyrics with a very in your face style where it was pay attention to me, but for no reason.
Even the
right?
album art here is some late teenage lady smoking sad anime use on her t-shirt, and there's something in that could actually be an interesting story, but isn't represented in the song at all, you know. There's all these pieces, there are glimmers of a real narrative that you could pull out.
Yeah, and it's always hard too when the style that you're trying to make is mainstream pop or hip hop or EDM or anything mainstream, because a lot of the songs on the radio, they are doing exactly this, right? They're just making the most empty, mass appropriate stuff. But equally, I would say that a lot of that music is either sounds exactly like everything else or sounds exactly like everything else and is AI generated now. So we're just in this weird looping hellhole where all of the most popular stuff is now recognized as the ideal pattern. And so, this is another way in these weird times to get out there, right? To circle back to the first thing we talked about is to just embrace contrasts and contradictions and be okay, even if I want to be a melodic trance artist, first of all, I don't like it when people put themselves in a box already like that. But if that's your thing, if you're truly dedicated to that, be okay, I want to be a melodic trance artist that is remembered And like, how do I get remembered? By being me and by showing people what me is that is not exactly like every other melodic trance person. And there's so many things about you. It could be your life story. It could be your culture. It could be like a random school you went to on exchange for years. Like there's just so many pieces of our life that make us unique human beings and prevent us from, even in a world of 7 plus, 8 plus, whatever, how many billion people we are, having uniqueness, right? That is the beautiful thing about being human. So just say, please, music, go back to that song and figure out what you need people to hear, like genuinely, and then it will win. Cool. Do we have yeah?
Oh, okay, so Rag sent us in a second one. Apparently, the one he wanted to originally send in, and Omega Eggs is also sent in a second one. So I think we'll just do
That's
those
fine.
two
Let's
and
do
then
2
we'll call it
more.
a night.
Sounds good. We've been doing it. It's been fun.
Yeah.
Mama said I could be a doctor or a lawyer. I could be an astronaut with more rocks on the low for you. I could be an actor, play the hero in a city full of villains who got sad backstories that'll make you empathize. If I only wanna try, I could be the apple of her iris as she cries. I could be the good guy if I ever fell in line. What's the cuss saying, oh well, the short loss of a lot of different pains, maybe the choice not. Maybe Friday make a list, we gotta think on it. I've been busy getting what I'm getting, no strings on it. I've been counting all the moolah. That's right, let's fight. I've been counting all the moolah. That's right, let's fight. I've been counting all the moolah. That's right, let's fight. I've been counting all the moolah. That's right, let's fight. Mama said I could be a king or a jester. I could stack it to the ceiling. I could turn it to investments. I could learn to fight fair. I could turn shit to a western. I could be a black action like directors. And I think I might, if I only wanna try. I could learn to stand still and watch this life go by. I could be the good guy if I ever fell in line. What's the cost of saying, oh well, it's too bad. I'm finding more importance and reasons that I had. I just gotta make a list. We gotta think on it. I've been busy getting what I'm getting, no strings on it. I've been counting all the moolah. That's right, let's fight. I've been counting all the moolah. That's right, let's fight. I've been counting all the moolah. That's right, let's fight. I've been counting all the moolah. That's right, let's fight. On the nose, I've been on my grind, no secret, switch the color on my feet and now the coupe look like a remix. Get it out the mud every day like it's day one, so we better reconsider his options like safe song. And he might, I ain't even gotta try. I could learn to stand still and watch this life go by. I could be the good guy if I ever fell in line. What's the cost of saying no way? It's too much. Hands is getting pretty and needing a mic cut. I could probably make a list. We gotta think on it. I've been busy getting what I'm getting, no strings on it. I've been counting all the moolah. That's right, let's fight. I've been counting all the moolah. That's right, let's fight. I've been counting all the moolah. That's right, let's fight. I've been counting all the moolah. That's right, let's fight. I've been counting all the moolah. Let's ride, let's fight. I've been counting all the moolah. Let's ride, let's fight.
That is storytelling there. You see, like whatever else. Every time I hear a Rags track, I feel like I'm in a different movie scene. Like really plays with textures, scenes, characters. Like I was drawn into that story and that mood and that vibe. And that's it. That's what else do you want? Natty, I'll let you
I
talk
find it
on this one.
interesting. He's being self-deprecating again. Just note
Oh.
this scene is intentionally low effort.
Yeah, I know.
Like, stop
I
it!
intentionally ignored
Like,
that. Yes.
Yeah, it's like, oh, God. You sell yourself short every time. You're still doing the burying thing a little bit, so you need to pull it up a little bit more. But also, it's just like, you don't say, oh, I'm seeing low effort. Like, you can be low-key, and that's fine, because low-key is a vibe. Low effort is not the same thing. And please don't go around telling folks in public, oh, here's the thing I put no effort into. Because, especially right now, we need to emphasize, all of us how much effort we put into our work, because like there are a lot of people out there now trying to scam everyone else that you can do everything in one click, and it doesn't.
People
take
don't love
anything.
making music.
Yeah, it's like, God, no, fuck that. Quite frankly, and you may not have been focused on stretching your range with this track, and I can tell you that I know your range. Like that, this isn't pushing it that way, but it's clear your focus was elsewhere, and that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
You don't have to push your range in every track. I mean, I think I get what you're saying. Like you're trying to tell a story and be, like you said, low key, but don't say low effort. Words have power. You should know that. Don't call yourself low effort. I've never known you to be low effort at anything I've ever seen you do. You've always gone like 110%. Okay, we got Omega Eggs. Diamond So Blue wants to send another one, but we are getting very. I think we are winding to the end.
To break.
Yeah,
that's the other thing as well. When you're getting feedback, right? You know, we say take breaks from your production. Take breaks after feedback as well, because you can wear out your ears and stop picking up on stuff. And this is starting to breach the edge of my endurance as well. So.
We've done a good run. It's been so good to do this again, and I mean now we've got all these subscribers. I guess we got to get back to doing it. Oops, I'm into it.
What have we done to it? This is how it works. We keep sabotaging ourselves.
This is
Memory
fun.
Lane. I'm weak at making lyrics and stuff, and usually make instrumentals. Does this track sound like it'd be suitable if I ever mess with it again in the future? Let's find out. This is Memory Lane.
Oh my gosh.
I gotta say, that is the Pallant Klezner to end this evening with, for sure.
That is lovely. I have a bunch of suggestions, and it's because I really like it. So just keep that in mind. Like, I think right now you have a super groovy, super pleasant thing that is in between 90s sitcom music and like award-winning funk, like amazing, right? And so I would suggest obviously going for direction B, and you're almost there. I think a lot of it has to do with kind of creative mixing that emphasizes dynamic range in a rhythmic fashion. And I'm going to give you a reference for this, and that is Chromeo. So I don't know if y'all are too.
That's a good shout.
I don't know if y'all are too old for Chromeo, but Chromeo is an artist that has been super influential in my own artistic career, and they do this style really, really well, right? Because I think that the trick is like, especially when you do retro sounds, is like you have to balance the retro sort of soundscape with some modern touches. Otherwise, it sounds just retro, right? So I think Chromeo does that really well, where like all of their style is 100% in the same arena as you, and like compositionally, you're doing a fantastic job. But then they mix it super clean and bouncy and modern, so that it has that vintage sound, but it just sounds like fresh and futuristic. So I would just mix this a little bit against Chromeo, maybe do some stuff like side chaining. And if you don't do this often, a lot of the times people talk about it in a dubstep way. You don't have to be so hardcore with it. You can be transparent with it, right? You can do side chaining that is kind of invisible, but just sort of pushes the music up and down just a little bit, right? And just makes it really, really clean. So I love that. And I want to see it go to like legend status. And it's sort of hovering, almost getting there, but it just needs a little bit of a push. That's my vibe.
I think the question was whether they could do something vocally over this, and Chromeo is a good reference for that. As a song of theirs I really like, it's called Replacements. It features LaRue as the vocalist, and it just has so much swagger to it, and is still a very modern production, but is of this sort of style and vibe. Another artist to reference. That. That's a really good track. I would play it on stream if I wanted to get copyright striked. I'll see if I can send you a link. There's another artist as well you could reference. M83 has an album called Junk, released back in 2016, I think it was. Something like that. It's got a lot of tracks that are in that sort of territory as well. And I think that the key with this is when you are doing something vocally on this, it's about trying to be as non-aggressive as possible. Like, the lyrics should be interesting. Like, you don't want to go into advertising lyrically, but the style of delivery needs to be quite chill, sort of willing to let things echo out a bit. I think that's the key there is.
I think what you mean is not like filling the entire space with lyrics and leaving pauses, because that also goes with the swing of the song. So I would just be like, kind of like da da do ba ba da da ba da 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 space ba da ba 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 da da da, right? Like leaving a lot of space, and that almost like a call and answer. So then you can have all that funky stuff like da da ba da ba 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 ba. You know what I mean? So. Yeah, I think that's what you were talking about, right? Just like basically, having like not filling it all up.
Don't fill it up. No high density vocals.
Yeah,
because,
exactly.
I think it is worth revisiting when you get a chance to have a try and experiment over it, because you can do a lot of interesting stuff with this. I'm trying to think. There's even a couple of old school R&B references are probably good to look at as well. That you know, in that era of sort of confessional rap, where it was sort of like deliberately meant to be sort of about optimistic, fun stuff, not like shooting people.
Well, this is the funny thing. This is like the other advice, because earlier we were clowning people for like "let's go" and all these tropes, but in this case, I feel like it's okay, because instead of like telling people to do something or be a certain way, you're just kind of telling them to like enjoy themselves where they are. So it's like, in a sense, it's totally okay to just be like, feel it. because you're like, feel it, yeah, and listen to this like sick saxophone syncopation, and literally feel it because you shouldn't be doing anything else right now because this is cool.
There's another good
Like,
reference for that. Capital Cities have a song called Farrah Fawcett Hair. And the chorus literally is, you know it when you feel it. You know it when it's there. I can't remember the next bit. Like Farrah Fawcett Hair. It's good shit. And that's the song. It's good
that is
shit.
also the best because that also takes what you think is a trope and then like turns it around at the end. So that's what I would call like a clever catchphrase. So if you have the chops to do that, even better. Even better.
I used to remember that song off by heart. And that's
amazing. Well, I think it's us old people's bedtime, huh?
Thank you, everybody, for joining us this evening. And as I mentioned in the chat, I do have an important post on Wednesday, which I will be posting on the server because it's benefit a lot of people in theory, and I don't usually ask for anything. So I have had back end discussions, and we will be pinging the server on Wednesday. I can't really
Please
reveal
do.
details about it until the goes live.
We'll
It's one of those sort of-
We'll support you. Thank you. I just want to call out the people in chat who were just so awesome and hanging out. We had Aiden pass through. We had Ryan Reset. We had Barrett. We had Dan Mac 84. We had all of the talented people whose tracks we play. We have always, of course, Rags, who gets a special mention always. We had the Diamond So Blue, Dr. Crisis, Koi Tex, Haber Erdenal, Chico. Everybody, like, honestly, truly wonderful. This is why we do it, is to be here with you. Next Era, everybody. There's just too many of you to name, and thank you. And we will, I don't think we can ever go back to doing this weekly because we have other jobs and stuff, but I think we could do it monthly if we plan it
I think
out.
we could pull off monthly.
So if you want to know what's going on, please just be in the Discord, discord.gg/EDMP, in case you didn't already come from there already. We're in there all the time, talking, giving feedback, hanging out. Like, you can always find us there. And you can also get feedback in there regularly by sort of trading feedback through a system we have. But this is something we do, and you'll always know about it through the server. So that's the best place to be if you want to know what's going on. Of course, if you haven't already, you can also follow us on Twitch, and that should also tell you when we go live.
This has been Feedback and Friends. We love you very much. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. And we're going to wish you a good night. Where am I? I don't know where the thing's gone. Oh, no. I seem to